one, man. Welcome to it. A very good morning. My name is Graham Richards.
My name is Carl Wasty. It's so nice to have you along for the ride today. It's going to be a show. I'm telling you, we've actually just decked it out for you. It's like a large buffet of entertainment.
A smorgasbord.
Yes, it is. So, give us the spread, please.
All right, so for your entree this morning, something that you will find quite delectable from the east, but originally from down south. The men's hockey team, who of course caused a major stir at the Tokyo Olympics when they stunned fourth-ranked Germany 4-3 in a Pool B clash. I think what's even more exciting is the fact that they actually made it there. They had to do a crowdfunding exercise to get there. They did it, and they made us proud.
Well done to the boys. Okay, so that was entree. Let me go to main. Now, main, as always, we have a more colourful main on the plate. Gaming guru Grant Hines. You're not sure what hair colour he has got today, but
delicious.
That's why. Colourful, but he is delicious and fascinating you with technology. Found at the Tokyo Olympics. And did you know that the medal is actually made out of recycled laptops?
What?
Which is something that Grant has always been big about. And you don't waste tech. You have to make it happen. So we then, of course, connect with somebody else, which is also part of the lovely connection that is technology and the main course, which is the founder of Altera Jewelry, who are on the same wavelength and create jewelry out of old tech.
Absolutely love that. Love the repurpose idea. Then, of course, for dessert this morning, we have something truly delectable.
Yes. Here we go.
And only for this morning on our menu, just a once-off. So please savor every morsel. It is Royal de Mornay.
Woo!
Absolutely love that one. What a way to start your Thursday. And thank you, Mzansi, for joining us this morning. Of course, we've got so much magic coming at you, but we thought we'd play some games, have some fun, and chat to you about something a little bit less serious so we can lighten up the mood here in the studio. Now, this morning we asked you a question about your pets, and of course, we all have crazy pets, we all have crazy pet names, and this morning we're wanting to know what the name of your pet is, and of course also, how did you come up with the name? Always this crazy story. I remember one just last week. I went to Fulton Sea. They got a dog that they expected to be this massive little bull. They named him Brock. He ended up turning into a midget, so they had to change his name into Broccoli. I thought it was quite cool. I thought it was quite funny. But my dog as well, his name's Harkin, which means red in Gaelic. He's got a little bit of ginger tinge on his coat. He's a husky, but in Gaelic, Harkin means red. So that's why I gave my pup my name. And yeah, I want to find out about you. What are your pets' names and animals' names? I'm sure you got a cool, funny story for us to share. Come through on the social medias and let's dig into the good stuff.
You know, I kind of feel like the broccoli story was actually the story of my life. I was supposed to be big and now broccoli, but it's okay. Let's jump into those news headlines from around the world. And starting off with something from home. The Electoral Commission of South Africa, the IEC, has filed an urgent application in the Constitutional Court to request that the impending local government elections be postponed. It is contemplating that citizens head to the polls on 23 February 2022. However, it has also a caution that the future is inherently uncertain, such as new variants or a crisis with vaccine supply. Should voting take place on 23 February 2022, the Health Department anticipates that it would then have fully vaccinated 67% or 40 million of the population. Social Development Minister Lindiwe Sisulu, or should I say Lindiwe Zulu, says more than 517,000 applications for the 350 Rand social relief grant that were previously approved are yet to be collected from the South African Post Office. She urged applicants who have not claimed or received their payments to urgently contact SASSA, and Zulu earlier said applications for the reinstated 350 Rand social relief grant will have to reapply for the grant. That's from tomorrow. Now, President Cyril Ramaphosa announced that the grant will be paid out until March next year and will now also include unemployed caregivers. On to international news. The Namibian Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture has reportedly allocated 800 million Rand to renovate and reconstruct 552 schools nationwide. This is the COVID-19 pandemic has exposed the lack of adequate health and sanitation facilities at educational establishments. Revamping will include proper ablution facilities, residence accommodation, kitchen facilities, and access to drinking water. The ministry said adequate health, sanitation, and accommodation facilities need to be enhanced to ensure a safe learning environment for all teachers, learners, and institutional workers. Namibia has 1,920 schools. At least 17 people died and more than a dozen injured yesterday when a lightning struck a wedding party on a boat in northwestern in Bangladesh. Now, the lightning hit when the boat reached the bank of the Padma River, and that's in the Shibanj town, as the wedding goers made their way to the bride's home. Lightning kills hundreds of people every year in Bangladesh, and experts say the rise in fatal lightning strikes is related to deforestation, which has led to the disappearance of many tall trees that earlier would have drawn lightning strikes. Now, onto some a bit more uplifting news. Now, how movies can unite, inspire and entertain communities in Cape Town. Now, watching a movie for people in the townships can require travelling long distances or purchasing unaffordable tickets. But Kosanati Nkama, the resident of Khayelitsha, close by Cape Town, has always wished for youth in his community to revel in the stories of the silver screen. Kama presently works with Vuma Pop-Up Cinema, the travelling movie theatre that makes films accessible to all. Started in 2016, it has become one of the most loved attractions for kids across South Africa. Kama says children's creativity, abilities and way of looking at life are improved with the help of community venues. Vuma Pop-Up Cinema shows movies all over. Now, queues of children line up for a seat, ready to unleash their imaginations and be inspired. And Kama says, and I quote, "I just wish to help my communities, and the pop-up cinema is the best way to do that, because stories always bring people closer together." That's the light note that I want to wrap up with you when it comes to news. Let's go on to some of the sporting action. Graham is standing by.
Thanks, Carl. Well, after that wonderful story, sorry to dampen the mood once again, but Team South Africa unfortunately recorded a did not finish in the men's 4x100-meter relay heats earlier this morning. That was after a mishap with the baton. So our relay quartet, who were medal hopefuls, including Clarence Munyai, Sean Maswangani, Chadwick Van Wyk and Akani Simbine. Van Wyk, of course, coming into the team after Gift Leclerc suffered a torn hamstring in his 100-meter semi-final on Sunday. So after a failed exchange of the baton, South Africa failing to reach the relay final set to take place tomorrow. Getting onto the podium, though, Team USA's Sydney McLaughlin, she's smashed her own world record and took Olympic gold in the women's 400-meter hurdle event at the Tokyo Olympics. The 21-year-old powered down the home straight to clock 51.46 seconds, beating her own previous best of 51.9 seconds. McLaughlin's compatriot and defending Olympic champion Delilah Mohammed, she took silver, and then the Netherlands' Femke Bol, she took bronze. And outside of the Olympics, back to Test rugby, South Africa's director of rugby, Rassie Erasmus, and SA Rugby will both face an independent misconduct hearing for comments made about match official performance during a match between the Springboks and the British and Irish Lions in the Lions series. Now, Erasmus released an hour-long video last week pointing out numerous errors made by Australian referee Nick Berry. World Rugby has said match officials are the backbone of the sport, and they condemn any public criticism of their selection, performance or integrity, which undermines their role. And on to the shorter format of the game, into Rugby Sevens now. After a very successful second appearance of Rugby Sevens at the Olympic Games, the HSBC World Rugby Sevens Series will be making its highly anticipated return next month. The Springbok Sevens team will look to bounce back from their 5th place finish at the Tokyo Games when the World Series kicks off. That series opener will take place in Canada on consecutive weekends on the 18th to 19th of September, and then the 25th and 26th of September in Vancouver and Edmonton, respectively. And then the Hong Kong Sevens, unfortunately, will not take place in November due to COVID-19, but we'll watch that space closely. Well, that's where we leave our sports news. We're not quite done with the Olympic Games yet. Today, we're going to be chatting to the men's hockey team a little bit later in the show, so stick around for that. But let's get a scope on the weather and an Olympic connection there.
Thanks, G. Indeed, an Olympic connection. Now, with the Olympic Games in Tokyo, it's in full swing. Evacuations were taking place yesterday in Greece's southern Peloponnese region due to a major fire near ancient Olympia, birthplace of the Olympic Games, which was held there every 4 years from 776 BC for more than a millennium. People were also evacuated in boats from the island of Evia in heavy smoke, with some 120 wildfires raging in Greece. The European Union has sent assistance. Also to other southeastern, or should I say southeastern European countries battling huge wildfires. Now, the help came a day after another major blaze destroyed more than 100 homes and businesses near the Greek capital of Athens. This while temperatures in Greece reached 45 degrees Celsius yesterday, the worst heat wave since 1987. And neighboring countries face similar conditions, fueling deadly wildfires in Turkey and blazes in Italy and across the Mediterranean region. The heat wave is forecast to hover over the region until the end of the week. Now, while we love interacting with our local viewers, we also have have a couple of international viewers that tune in. That's via the Africa channel as well as the YouTube channel too. And this morning we ventured to Greece, quite appropriately, to give a brief update on the weather for Athens, the capital and largest city of Greece. It is one of the world's oldest cities with its recorded history spanning over 3,400 years. And its earliest human presence started somewhere between the 11th and 7th millennium BC. As such, it boasts numerous historical sites and attractions, including the Acropolis, Theatre of Herodes Atticus, as well as the Panathenaic Stadium, built in the 4th century BC. It was largely used for athletic events and eventually restored to host the first modern Olympics in 1896. Now, orange warnings have been issued for the city for high temperatures forecast. Today is expected to reach 39 degrees Celsius, and residents are urged to keep hydrated as heat stroke is a risk when outside for extended periods of time. Now, our day just wouldn't start off on the right note without showcasing a few of these fantastic sunrise photos that we love getting and that has been shared by you. Now, starting us off this morning is Janet Nicholson from Durban, who shared the stunning photo of the sun illuminating the clouds from behind. Ronewa Nachianane from Polokwane shared the scattered clouds across the sky in her area with the sun lighting up the sky behind. It looks so beautiful. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to make it a screensaver, and please do continue to share your beautiful sunrise photos with us on the Expresso Facebook page. We love seeing your part of the country through your lens. Now let's take a look at the temperatures just to make sure you know what to wear today. Now let's start off in Polokwane as always. 6 to 23 for you, Bombela. Good morning to you. 11 is your minimum to a maximum of 30 degrees Celsius. Beautiful that side. Pretoria 9 to 23. Johannesburg, you can expect 9 to 21 today. Mahikeng 8 to 24. Should I say 25? Klerksdorp, you got 6 in the morning. 25 is your maximum. Kimberley, good morning. 5 to 26. Bloemfontein also looking beautiful today. 1 is the minimum, quite chilly, but you rise to 24 later. Richards Bay, another gorgeous day. 14 is the minimum to a max of 26. Pietermaritzburg 8 to 27. Durban 15 to 23. Mthatha, you can expect 7 and you jump to 24. East London 14 this morning. 20, that'll be this afternoon with a 50% chance of rain. Cradock 7 to 25. Gqeberha 12 to 19 with a 55% chance of precipitation in your area. George 9 to 17. Cape Town 8 to 19. Worcester, same maximum, 19 degrees Celsius from a low of 5. And then Sutherland -2, very chilly, but you're up to 15. And then Uppington, you've got 6 this morning and 25 a little later today. And that's a wrap of your temperatures and your Feel Good Breakfast Show. If you've got a sunrise photo, send it my way. Just jump on to the Expresso Facebook page.
You can see us, Jen, smiling. You're so excited, of course. Another addition to the book. Oh,
yeah, I don't know if it's because it's only the guys here. We've got no one to keep us in check this morning, but there's a bit of a vibe. We have to watch us closely this morning.
The word is stout. That's not the one we're translating this morning for you guys that understand Afrikaans. And this one is a special one, though. And it's driven by the desire to help improve another situation or anybody's situation. In fact, I can read right now. And we happily joined Cadbury Dairy Milk over the past few weeks on their journey to address the need for more African language children's storybooks in South Africa. And that's being done by translating words to make books in their home language more accessible. And we aren't done just yet. Yeah, man. We're going deep with this one.
We're going deep, man. The expanse of our narrative, the storylines, just keep improving with every new word that we introduce. And that's the whole point. So we want you to join us this morning and play your part by translating a new word to help co-author this children's entire library full of African language storybooks. And the word that we're going to be translating this morning into Ndebele, that's our chosen language for this week, is sea, as in the ocean sea.
One of my favorite playgrounds.
You know what
I need to know this one. I need to remember
exactly.
this.
So sea in Ndebele is Ilwandle. Ilwandle.
And if I remember correctly, yesterday we were introduced in Ndebele to the jellyfish. So the jellyfish in the Ilwandle.
Exactly.
We're starting to get a full sentence together.
And what I'm liking now, we're getting a bit of a conservation element coming into our storyline here, which is great. The whole point here is to inspire these amazing authors that we get to be a part of in creating really good stories that, most importantly, are accessible to children in their own language.
Absolutely love it. Come join the cause and help ensure that children can enjoy enchanting African language tales in their own language. And you can do that by visiting cadbury.co.za and at Cadbury Dairy Milk SA on Facebook or Cadbury_SA on Twitter and Instagram. So start sharing your words and keep your eyes open for more ways to get involved. And of course, we'd also like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who has participated over these past few weeks. Whether you generously translated words or shared the initiative with friends, family, this has been such an incredible movement. Doing something with all that we have and all the diversity we have in this country, creating magic, that's what this is.
It's going to change lives on the most fundamental level. So cheers to you. Thank you.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
To Feel Good Breakfast Show, this is Expresso on S3, and the musical journey that we're about to take you on is of alternative pop artist CCV. Now, she began when she started singing at the age of 11 and later picked up a guitar and bass, and quite a shy child. She credits music for helping her find her voice and her confidence, and she has flourished into a fine musician, which you'll learn today.
Absolutely, Carl. But before we get started, let's give you a taste of her sound with this music video from her latest single, Black Light. Let's check it out.
My colors were slowly dying in your black light. I had to walk away to get myself right. I won't make a U-turn tonight. I won't fall in love with you again. Bloodshed always comes before the end. I won't fall in love with you again.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, CCV in the building!
Yes!
Yeah!
There we go. There we go. I was waiting. By the way, so we were watching that little clip, of you. Is it still weird watching yourself on a music video?
No, I actually think I've gotten used to it in a way.
Okay, good.
Especially the fact that you're rocking out there. I love the feeling, I love the energy. It seems like a liberation of sorts. But let's talk about this music journey of yours, because yes, you're still young, but you even started singing at a younger age. I believe it was the age of 11. Started off with somewhat of an interesting sound, like a folk rock, so to speak, and it's somewhat progressed to something a bit more current, a bit more poppy, but it's still got that sort of, I'd say that feel, that ingenuity feel that you kind of brought to the party. How did this evolution occur? What inspired you to start, and what's brought you all the way back here to the couch?
So yeah, I started singing when I was like 11. I was very shy, and that was kind of, for me, where I found like I could have a voice and felt like I was at home on stage. And then I started learning to play instruments, and it was kind of rooted more in like learning rock and blues kind of stuff. And I listened to like a wide variety of genres, and I love pop music as well. So I started writing more kind of rockish, bluesy stuff. And then last year, like in the last couple of years, there's been a lot more of this alt pop kind of stuff coming out in the industry, and that's like always just, I've been so drawn to that because it just captures, I think, the same, like the feeling that I relate to a lot and that I want to like portray. So I said like, okay, I want to try and move towards this sound. Found a really great producer and writing team that I'm working with, and then CCV's music started.
I'm just looking at you as you explain this, and it feels like you found what I would maybe call a flow state. Like you're resonating with the music just while you're expressing yourself. Yeah. The smile in your face is amazing. It's you, just like, I found my thing, I found my flow. I love that.
And there's a lot of liberation. Like, with that powerful single you dropped, Call Me, it wasn't just a single, though. It was you actually just coming out to the world and just being your true self, which is so difficult. And I can't imagine how that is, to kind of be locked away and then finally say, you know what? Let me express myself, as Ra was mentioning. This is actually what he's seeing, I think, is that flow of you just being your authentic self. Is that what the single did for you? Is that exactly the type of vehicle that you wanted to say, hey, this is actually me. This is where I've been hiding? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, that was before I even started as CCV. That was kind of under like a previous musical project. But that video was essentially me just like kind of coming out to the world that I'm queer and, just being open about it. And for me, it was just about being my authentic self, and I feel like I can connect much more to the music and to the audience. And just like, there's so many artists that have come out in the last few years that are open about who they are, and they've inspired me to do that, and I want to hopefully do the same and inspire people that you can be yourself. It doesn't matter what other people think, be yourself, and that is enough.
Yeah, I love this.
Yes, man.
And the beautiful part about this is that you being yourself is an expression that we get to understand and resonate with. And it's not just good music that we get to dance to and enjoy, but it actually has meaning and depth, and that's something I absolutely love. And speaking of which, Blacklight, something that you've obviously just produced, speaks more of somewhat of a getting out of that toxic relationship, it seems. What was the real inspiration behind that? Obviously, the relationship itself was a big part and a component of that, but why do you decide to express that in your music? What was the reason for that?
So that song, it's basically about kind of making the decision to walk away from any kind of toxic situation or relationship. I've had a lot of toxic friendships and things throughout my life, and I've always struggled to kind of walk away from that. So it's just kind of like, and you always realize afterwards that, you're better off without that in your life. So it's just kind of like an anthem to just say, like, take back your power. You don't need all that in your life. And we shot a really cool music video to go along with it, as they showed the clip. That was quite a process to put that together and conceptualize, but it was like really fun to get that whole concept together.
That's beautiful. All right, it's actually really fun to actually have you here. So I'm looking forward to seeing you jam out, CCV. And I can guarantee you, after you're here to perform live in front of you, I know you miss live music, but it's going to be something that you're going to be streaming very, very, very soon. So CCV is here. So grab a cup of coffee. In fact, here's a good idea as to which coffee.
Well, there's a number of reasons why I want to promote this particular coffee this morning, and we're going to get serious for a second here because we love the coffee producing processes behind what Nespresso do in every sense, but this is especially groundbreaking for me. Now, we know all around the world coffee farmers work incredibly hard to produce the fruit that is used to make our favorite cup of coffee that we relish every day on this show, but some coffee growing communities have faced hardship due to global warming, climate change, social and economic instability, political instability. And this certainly rings true, especially in Uganda, where coffee production dropped significantly since the late 80s due to poor farming practices, ongoing drought, and global warming. Well, Nespresso is changing this narrative. I'm going to invite Ryle in here too, because you can't just have a sip of coffee on your own, especially a coffee that is this delicious.
Can I get a young sanitizer
and this special, man. Thanks,
Thank you
man.
so much, kind sir. I'm really looking forward to this, and especially the ethical reasons behind what's actually going on. Something so important, something so pertinent as well. It's not just a beautiful cup of coffee, right?
No, completely. It's about reviving a coffee culture, yes, but an entire community around that. Nespresso is helping to revive Uganda's once booming coffee industry with their Reviving Origins coffees. Let's find out a bit more.
In Uganda, decades of drought dismantled the coffee industry. Now, thanks in part to programs like Reviving Origins, the region is reborn. Every taste of this rare espresso is a reminder that with perseverance, anything is possible. And with every cup, you're cultivating a brighter future.
But they are not only helping Uganda, the program is also reviving thriving coffee regions to their former glory. And this is Nespresso's Reviving Origins program.
You know, it's hard business farming, and how fragile, because a bad storm can take out a season, or a terrible civil war can ruin everything. Nespresso has this Reviving Origins program, and farmers' lives are changed in a big way. You know, Colombia obviously famous for its coffee, but also it's had some rough times over the years. Zimbabwe, it's where you can actually see climate change come directly in line with conflict. Since the hurricane in Puerto Rico, Nespresso got more involved. Nespresso's come in and said, look, we get it. We're going to grow these coffee beans that you guys know how to do so well, and we're going to make it even more efficient, and we're going to reclaim land that had been lost. So that the farmers themselves are able to continue working and be protected. And everyone who tastes it goes, oh, I get it.
Commitments, that's a cup above indeed, man.
Absolutely love it. Was that you, by the way, in that video? I liked you with that.
I wish I could stake that claim, man. I love the personalities that are involved, the way that they do this out-facing campaign to get those of us that love their coffee so much emotionally invested. But the time and effort they put into the coffee communities, that for me is, never mind the ecology around there, kind of the forestation and improving that ecosystem around it, but the way that they invest in the human capital, the fact that they've highlighted that as their most important asset, that for me, it gives me goosebumps, man. And it's awesome to get goosebumps every time you drink your morning cup of coffee. Really good to know that when we enjoy one of these Amaha Awe Uganda coffees, which is amazing, beautifully balanced, we are helping to bring, as the name suggests, hope to Uganda. So cheers to you, buddy.
Cheers, bro.
Every time you brew a cup of Reviving Origins coffee,
You're restoring land.
Empowering farmers and supporting livelihoods.
so every sip touches hundreds of lives.
And offers an inspiring taste experience in return.
Oh, you can make my day.
Nourish your skin with Ingram's for Men, enriched with triple glycerine. For 48-hour moisture and no stickiness. Ingram's, your skin, your brave.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. You're live with Expresso. You can see how excited I am to be broaching our next two guests. South Africa's men's hockey team caused quite the upset at the Tokyo Olympics when they stunned the fourth-ranked, outstanding German outfit 4-3 in their Pool B clash. Germany, of course, won the bronze at the last Olympic Games in Rio and have a world ranking, I think, 9 places above Team South Africa. Now, despite not qualifying for the playoffs, our men's hockey team have returned to South Africa with their heads held high after this historic win, and of course I think a very brave showing throughout the tournament. Right now, striker Keenan Horn and goalkeeper Rassie Pieterse join us via video call to chat about their Tokyo 2020 experience. Keenan, Rassie, welcome back to the show, guys.
Thanks. Good morning, guys.
Oh, man, I feel quite emotional connecting with you guys because it wasn't so long ago that we were chatting to you about crowdfunding, about getting you to the Olympics. Just as a jumping off point, you did it. Never mind the performances, which were fantastic. You're there. You were there. You're Olympians. How does that feel now that you look back, knowing that you were able to achieve that?
Yeah, I'll probably go first. I know Rassie has the Olympics under the belt already. But yeah, you know, I actually haven't reflected much on it because when you're there, it's all about performing, and you know, we obviously didn't reach our goals, and that's why you participate or compete at these events. You know, not just to be an Olympian. So that part hasn't set in yet. Still reeling with the what ifs. You know, what if we qualified? What if we won this game? But I mean, like, just looking at the support back home, it's just been absolutely incredible. And just such an honor and privilege to have been part of Team SA.
Very much so, and you did yourselves, most importantly, you did yourselves proud. So close, yet so far away. We know the margins in hockey at that level are so minute, so fine, that it really, it is such a difficult sport to progress in this kind of environment. But you did, along the way, record a very historic win against Germany at the Games, coming from behind to claim a famous 4-3 victory. Rassie, maybe you can talk us through that performance, what it was like just getting that kind of result in that setting.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's been quite surreal. Like Kino said, you know, a lot of things hasn't sunk in yet. We've just been so focused the last couple of years on what we want to achieve. And funny enough, you know, Germany, you know, it wasn't just a fluke. It was part of our plans to get a result against them. So, yeah, we definitely went out there. I mean, throughout the whole tournament, you know, there's been some proud performances. You know, the boys gave it their all. We didn't leave anything in the tank. You know, it was just nice to get that result at the end of the day against Germany. And then obviously backing it up the following day against a good Canadian team, also getting a result against them. So I think our campaign, we all know our story. It's been quite tough the last couple of years. But, you know, to go to Olympics, we were in a crazy pool. Look, we had some of all the top dogs, the 4 top European teams. Yeah, we always knew it was going to be tough, but I don't think we actually realized, you know, how much support we actually had from home and how proud people has been. So, you know, that is one of the things and one of the legacies we want to leave behind.
Buddy, I've got to ask you, because this was kind of a swan song for you. You've decided to hang up your boots, if you will. How good was it to have this kind of outing with, let's be honest, your brothers out there on the field at this stage of your career?
I mean, it's been quite a humbling process. It's just been unbelievable. I think, like Kino said, a lot of things hasn't sunk in yet. For me, it's been coming a long time. I've actually called it 2 years ago, and then obviously we missed Tokyo last year. So I had a bit of an extra 1 year. But I mean, all the brothers, we were so close. The stuff we went through through COVID, you know, we really, you know, got close to each other, and you know, it was quite an emotional experience in the end, as you can see there on the pictures. But yeah, I've had an absolute great time, and I've had so much support, you know, and hockey really became a lifestyle. So I'm very, very fortunate, and I can just be thankful. And, you know, to go to the Olympics and to finish it off there, I'm a very, very, very lucky man, and I'm a very, very happy man.
Yeah, man, and we are so grateful for what you've given to the sport. I think what you've done for the younger players in creating a narrative that is only positive and only on an upward trajectory from now on. Keenan, earlier this year, of course, you graduated with a Masters of Law from Stellenbosch University. Now, with the Olympics completed, quite a good year for you, I would imagine. What's the next focus for you?
Yeah, so, it's funny to think that we're already like 8 months into the year. A lot has happened already. But yeah, going forward, we already chatted about next year's hockey program and the year ahead. So there's a lot of hockey happening in terms of that front. The Commonwealth Games, Birmingham, we want to qualify for the World Cup with Africa Cup again. But now I need to start shifting to a little bit of work again to do my articles. Yeah, I'm trying to complete my articles, my legal articles, and then, yeah, hopefully get admitted as an attorney and go back overseas. That's the big plan. I've been very fortunate to, as you say, and blessed to get so many favors over the last year that I'm just trying to take it one step at a time and not look too far.
Yeah, buddy, I think you have earned those favors. So take nothing away from what has been a titanic effort from you individually, both of you individually, and from the team. Hopefully this has ignited a fire in where we can go. And you talk about Commonwealth Games, you talk about World Cups. Hopefully this has been only a positive indication of what we can achieve on the highest level. You guys did the most, and as Rassie pointed out, you left nothing out there. So thank you so much to both of you for your service to the country, man. We've loved watching you play, and we are really proud of you.
Yeah, cheers, man.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, man, a titanic achievement just getting to the games when you look at what the challenges that they had to overcome, and their performances were amazing. A massive thank you to Keenan Horn and Rassie Pieterse from our men's hockey team for taking the time to chat to us today. We are incredibly proud of what these athletes achieved, not just in Tokyo, but what they've done for the SA sporting brand.
Could not be prouder, and such an epic moment when it comes to the Olympics, of course. Now, from epic moments in the Olympics to epic technology, let's take a look at this.
You know what time it is? It is tech time. And the thing is, Tokyo Olympics, you've been seeing it. Technology's played a massive role in making sure that the entire event runs smoothly, and that, of course, with COVID protocols, there's a lot more ease of access for, athletes and players as well as spectators alike. But I think it's important for us to zone in on the technology. And there's only one person that I know always has his sort of hand on any sort of technology around, whether it be Tokyo Olympic Games or something in your house, or even upcycling something like e-waste. Grant Hines, good morning, my brother. How are you doing?
I'm so good. How are you guys?
Epic, man. We're so good to see you. We've got an interesting little green screen behind you over there. We're always ready for action.
Yeah. Well, I haven't broken down. This is my studio. It's the new normal now. We're broadcasting from home. We're teaching from home. We're doing. Oh wow!
Yes.
Tell everybody in the control room there at the studio to calm down.
What's gonna happen?
So I'm very excited about the technology that's happening at the Olympic Games in Tokyo. We all know that Japan is a very culturally, technologically advanced society. And what they've done, I think, supersedes any Olympics prior to them. And we're only seeing a glimpse of it, like the beds being made out of cardboard. We're getting like little bits and pieces of it from outside. But if we can focus on that a little bit and steer a little bit away from the athletes, I'm really proud of our athletes and that we're doing so well. But let's marvel at the building bricks that is making the event as exciting as it is.
Yeah, man. So did you know? Feed us on that. What exactly is going down? Because obviously the Olympics is always a great showcase to see some of this tech in action. I've seen some really cool moments which I haven't ever seen in the Olympics, which really gives an extra sort of edge and a buy into the games and get you more vested. But what can you tell us from your side, Grant?
Well, I think firstly they've got there's these wild human support robots or HSRs or DSRs, also delivery support robots, which are robots that are designed to help guide spectators and bring snacks to people and merchandise and get people to and from their locations in the environment. But it literally is like a physical robot that is functioning as a guide. So they're there to support humans. Some of them are actually on the field as well, just measuring the fields and rolling around on all four wheels.
What,
so
is that
this
walking
new
a dog? Was it walking a dog?
It's
No way!
It's listen, there's no dog walking in the Olympics because that would be strange. But we're getting there. I mean, obviously that's a video about the technology behind those DSRs and HSRs. But that's only one part of it. There are other robots. I don't know if people know this, but did you know, Carl, that you are no longer the mascot for the Olympics? It's actually two robots that have taken your place.
What? No. I was
The names are
wondering why
Muratoa.
the payment stopped, yeah?
Muratoa and Soweto are the actual two mascots, robot mascots, and they are there to greet spectators and athletes at the official venues, and they have like these. Obviously, they look very anime and really cool, and very notably have human-like eyes that can help with human interaction and can respond to different kinds of human interaction, which is it's wild, right? And they use facial recognition systems so that they can approach and communicate with other humans, and they are the mascots of the event. So don't worry, Carl. You're out of a job now.
We're being replaced.
You can have some time off.
We've been replaced.
Next thing you know, there's going to be an Expresso tech segment with Robot Grant.
You know what? I would love to have you as a mascot, Carl. I would love to have it. Like, if I was playing on the side of the field, I can't think of a bigger hype man.
I got your back, man. No
a robot Grant Hines can have you as the mascot.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Humans and robots working together.
Look, so from tech that can move around to tech that you could potentially maybe, use in tracking for athletes. What do you have in that front for us, Grant?
Yeah, so artificial intelligence and 3D athlete tracking, or 3DAT is what they're calling it, allows computers and AI to vision real-time data from athletes. So you're able to track what's happening with an athlete physically with cameras, and it's using cloud computing to take that information, and with deep learning deep learning algorithms be able to give you meaning behind that information, because data is meaningless without assessment with that information, right? So you're looking for biomechanical data, which is extremely important, and that's great for athletes and coaches who are there trying to help those athletes improve, and they have a lot of this metadata to improve their athletes incrementally. And as an athlete who watches the show, I know there are athletes out there that watch the show, we're literally accounting milliseconds. People are racing to beat each other by milliseconds, and records are being set in those milliseconds. So you've got to get that edge, and data is one of the best ways to get that edge, and that's what 3DAT's about. And lastly, there's a ton of wearable tech that is happening at the Olympics. I'm sure you guys know about all the smart bands and stuff that's happening on the consumer level, but on a big level, there's stuff like 3D printed shoes that are being made. So and I've actually been really excited about this. I really think the future is going to be when we have our kids have their kids. There's going to be like a box in the house that 3D prints everything. It's like, you need school shoes? We'll have a 3D printer. We've got the goop that makes the school shoes, and you press a button and it'll 3D print those shoes instead of us having to go buy it. And this is starting to see traction now. Excuse the pun. I like that. Excuse the pun.
Traction.
We're starting to see traction like this at the Olympics, where athletes are able to wear 3D printed shoes, and that's specifically for the Chinese boxing team. They're having these really customized sneakers, which is really cool.
So cool.
That's
I feel like you're still able to print your own kid one day by the looks of it, man.
Yes.
This is where the world seems to be going.
Robots and 3D printers replacing us.
I'm really looking forward to printing our own meat. I think being able to print our own meat is going to be game-changing.
Nice. Grant Hines always coming through with the good stuff, man.
True.
Thanks a lot for sharing all that tech news when it comes to the Olympics and things that we can look forward to. And maybe you, Mzansi, didn't know the following too. Japan made all their medals for the 2021 Tokyo Olympics out of discarded smartphones and laptops.
I think it is mind-blowing, but I think we should continue this vein. And of course, efficient recycling is the thing of the future, and we continue on the same wavelength and find out how jewelry can be made from e-waste too. Stick around.
Oh, you can make my day.
Now, the best kind of bakes will always be homemade, first of all, and the best memories come from creating these irresistible bakes together. And whether it's a tried and tested sweet family favorite or maybe something savory, it just tastes better when you make it with the ones you love and for the ones you love. And today, we will hopefully inspire you to create your own homemade happiness by baking our delicious snowflake corn and a chakalaka bread. Michaela is here to do the most. And she claims that this is super easy. What did you say? It's just a throw everything into one.
Chuck everything into one. This is exactly what you need for your family.
Exactly. But this is also one of my kind of craving foods, okay?
I
love cornbread specifically.
Oh.
Corn fritters, cornbread, corn anything.
Cheesy cornbread.
Cheesy cornbread, chakalaka cornbread, even better.
Yeah.
Okay, so you say it's easy? Prove it.
So literally, all you need is one of these packages of snowflake ready-made easy mix. And we're going to use half of a packet.
Okay.
So this is 1 kilogram. We're going to use 500 grams.
Okay, and
so
I know it does come in a 500 gram pack as well.
Yes.
But perfect.
But it's always better having a bigger one.
Yeah.
And you save money most of the time.
Yeah, you can make another one the next day.
You literally just need 500 grams.
Boom.
And 1 1/3 of a cup of lukewarm water.
Why lukewarm?
So it just helps to activate the ingredients a little bit more. Yeah. It's like when you bloom yeast, you always use lukewarm water or room, like, you know what the test is to see if something is lukewarm? If you stick your finger in and you feel nothing.
Ah,
because then it's
the
body
same
temperature.
as your body. I like that.
I know. It always blows my mind every time I do it.
I just have a vision of you now standing alone in your kitchen, sticking your finger into lukewarm water.
Well, how do you taste it with lukewarm? Make your kids taste it, and if they don't burn, then you know.
Exactly. Come on, man. But you know, you mentioned.
Don't do that.
No, I was going to say this comes with a warning on screen. No, what I love about this is I really can. I make bread with my boy all the time.
Yes.
Because there is a lesson in the patience of making bread. So you go through the process. It gets very messy. Yes. He puts his little bum on the table, literally sits with me, and there's like he's fully clothed. Okay. And there's flour everywhere and in our hair and all over ourselves. But then we get to obviously reap the rewards of our efforts when we get this beautiful fresh bread. And is there anything better than the smell of fresh bread baking in your home? Nothing.
No, nothing.
Nothing. I'm sorry.
Maybe cookies.
Okay.
Still not.
No, I think bread still takes it. Okay, so now we've got the mix. Now you've added for extra oomph. We've got the chakalaka and the corn.
But make sure you don't add too many wet ingredients into the mix. It can make it like a dumpy, overly moist mix. So you just want to try and
exercise restraint.
Yes, exactly. As one should with a lot of things in life. While you're standing over there, we have some cream cheese.
Okay.
And some biltong that's been shredded.
Oh.
And if you could just chuck them into each other and just give it a mix.
Okay, do I need to test the temperature of the cream cheese?
I mean, you really could. So just give this a light.
See, now, the danger here, okay, is I'm a fan, and I think you are as well, of good, beautiful, fatty biltong. It's got to be fatty. Like, throw your lean biltong out the window. I'm sorry, okay?
Like, it's really funny. Every time I eat biltong, I'll leave, like, the really lean stuff in the bottom, and I'll just scratch around. It's not very sanitary, but, like...
Well, that's where the flavour lies. We know this.
Exactly.
That's exactly why we love it so much. But, you know, we joke about the temperature of the cream cheese, but you want it to be nice and malleable to mix through.
Exactly.
Beautiful flavour profile. I love the combinations of the flavours that we're including here.
Nice South African flavour with the chakalaka.
Completely, and even more South African with the introduction of a little bit of a biltong vibe. So the dough, at what point do you know that you need to get in there with your hands and kind of...
So the mistake would be to try and add water until you've mixed it with a spatula, but that's actually like not a good idea. Okay. You want it to get to like a crummy texture, and then you're like, okay, cool, I can use my hands now.
Okay.
And then you start kneading it for a little while.
3 hours cleaning dough off yourself.
Exactly. And the best part about this is you don't really have to like knead it into like a solidly smooth mix. You can just make sure that it's all combined, and then put it into like a well-greased loaf tin.
And you can.
And then you bake it in the oven for 180 degrees for about half an hour, and then you're good to go.
And you just let that smell permeate through your entire house. Now, this has been made so much more easy and simple to create because of Snowflake 5-in-1. Now, whether you are maybe team sweet or team savory, as we are today, and we're not judging, there is a Snowflake 5-in-1 mix just for you to create 5 different types of recipes, all from one easy-to-use product. All you need to do is bring your creative flair and create anything savory with the 5-in-1 savory mix, from dombolo to fritters, yes, bread, muffins, and even those Friday nights pizzas. I never thought about doing that.
You can do pizza bases.
Oh, wow.
We know what you're doing this week.
Do you know what? All I'm doing this week is I've run out of days of the week now. I've got to do fritters, I've got to do muffins, I've got to do a pizza base. Absolutely beautiful. If you want to create this corn and chakalaka bread, which I think is going to be a showstopper and go very quickly in the home, you can go to expressoshow.com. That's where we've got all of the recipes that we make. In fact, we'd love for you to cook along and post some pictures of your own creations. And that's as easy as that. Into the baking tray, or baking dish rather. And,
exactly.
And then into the oven and we're good to go.
I'm only dirtying one hand today, so...
I know, very, very...
Yeah.
Thoughtful. Your
and then you can
restraint
also
has
just
been
spread
impressive.
that cream cheese on there and give it a taste.
Okay.
Because it's way too early in the morning for me to eat something.
Okay. Now, I will gladly do that while I let that settle and think about how I'm going to smash it in my mouth.
The fatty one.
I've tried to get as liberal as I can with the spread. I love that. A beautiful addition there. Now, here's the good news. You could be the lucky winner of a 2,500 Rand cash prize or voucher to the value of 2,500 Rand. What you have to do is simply purchase a Snowflake product to bake your favorite creation using a Snowflake product. And remember to keep your till slip as proof of that purchase. Then you visit Snowflake's Facebook page to post a pic of your creation with your Snowflake product using the hashtag SnowflakeHomemade. You can find all the terms and conditions that do apply on expressoshow.com or snowflake.co.za. Perfect prelude. I'm going to need a bit of a hiatus on the show so I can savor this entire piece of bread.
Go.
Oh, it's spectacular.
Moist.
It's absolutely beautiful. Texture amazing. And what a win.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to Feel Good Breakfast Show. This is Expresso on S3. Now, a little earlier, we chatted to Grant Hines about how technology can be upcycled and used for all sorts of different things, and also how technology is empowering the Olympics. So, the thing about Ortec is that e-waste is something that cannot be disregarded. We have to actually make sure that we are green. And what better way to take something like an old laptop or something like that and create something like medals? And that's exactly what they are doing at the Olympics. But there are other things you can make too. For instance, jewelry. I know you would never ever think about this, but Ashley Heather Jewelry is the founder of Orterra Jewelry. Now, that's creating timeless handcrafted jewelry from recycled e-waste, which is crazy. Can you just imagine proposing to your lady and saying, baby, this is my old laptop. I love you. Will you marry me? It's crazy.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Ashley Heather, it's so good to have you this morning. Are you still with us? Are you live? Are you there?
I'm here, yeah.
Good morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Morning.
It's so good chatting to you, and I'm so blown away, but also at the same time so excited by what we are doing here with e-waste and going green. Now, Orterra, which is your company, which is an author, you could say, is in a nutshell, well, what is the business exactly for anybody that's actually trying to figure out what's really going on here? Because we see some old tech, but what's going on?
So, the name Orterra is inspired by AU, which is the atomic symbol for gold,
yes,
and Terra, which is Latin for earth. And so really that encapsulates who we are as a business. We create jewelry that celebrates the earth. But more specifically than that, we extract gold and silver from discarded electronics and use that to create eco-friendly jewelry. So we recycle all from e-waste.
Okay.
So just to make sure that was nice and clear to you, so you extract gold and silver from the upcycled technology motherboards as well. I know that there's a lot of those elements used on there. But how did you get into the space of repurposing e-waste? I mean, this is the type of space I'm sure we have been when we try to dismantle stuff when we were kids, but now you've really done something magical with it. How did you get started?
It certainly wasn't a linear process, and it's involved a fair amount of serendipity. I actually stumbled into jewelry making quite by accident. I just finished studying fine arts, and I really didn't know what my next move was. And so I signed up for a jewelry evening class, just for something to do, really. And I think I was about halfway through that class before I was filling out the paperwork for the full-time program. Something just clicked. But my passion for sustainability long preceded my passion for jewelry. And so I knew I needed to find a way to bring those two things together. And at the time, there really wasn't an eco-friendly jewelry company in South Africa. So I just rather boldly and rather naively decided to start my own. And here we are, 10 years later.
Oh, here we are, and I'm looking at some of the pieces you've created, which are just absolutely beautiful. I could never say that it come from such a source. My question is, what does this feel like? And this is, for me, an end goal when it comes to something like success. Being able to turn e-waste into something so beautiful by also solving a incredible solution when it comes to our waste and going green at the same time. That's like goals for me. What's that feeling like for you, honestly, being able to put this into the world and do such good?
Yeah, I feel very grateful every day to have the job that I do. I'm completely passionate about all the aspects of the process, and e-waste is a really challenging issue. It's the fastest growing municipal waste stream, with about 15 billion tons of e-waste generated every year. And right now, only about 15 to 20% of that is recycled. The vast majority ends up in the landfill. So whilst it's obviously gratifying to be able to work with a material that would have otherwise gone to waste, it's also really exciting on the other side of things to be playing our small part in making sure less e-waste actually ends up in the landfill, because it is classed as a hazardous waste. And so while your cell phone may be perfectly safe when it's in use, the second it hits the landfill and it starts to break down, it releases lead and mercury and arsenic, and all those leach into the soil and then the groundwater. And that poses a real risk to human health and the environment. So it's not just about the recycling itself, but also about considering the whole life cycle of our consumer goods.
It's really consciousness over there, and it's being aware of so many things that I can hear the care has been put into it. But I know, Ashley, you can't just walk around normally not thinking about 2015, where you created that first gold recycled ring, a first in the world. I mean, that achievement must have been so big for you. How did it sort of come about? And more importantly, how did that catapult your company and your sort of growth in this sort of sphere? I mean, that first gold ring, that must have been incredible for you.
So that first ring that we made out of the recycled e-waste, it was a really big moment for us. There was no blueprint at the time on how to create a jewelry company out of such a specific single-source recycled material. And so while e-waste recycling had been around for a long time, we didn't really know how it would work in the jewelry sphere. I mean, theoretically, once gold is being properly recycled, gold is gold, and so it should just work. But I remember soldering that first ring and just thinking, is the solder going to flow? Is this whole thing going to blow up in my face? And it didn't, and it worked. And we've made many more rings since then. So it really is a very exciting space to be in.
Ashley, Heather, Otero Jewelry, it's so incredible to see where you are right now. And we look forward to so many more pieces, which I'm sure you're going to create, dazzle us with, and obviously just allow maybe even someone to drop a knee one day too, I would believe, right?
It's going to happen. Thank you so much, Ashley, for joining us. You're an absolute star, and I can't wait. You're right. Upcycling e-waste is going to be the future. Only problem is that if the engagement ring is made out of the cell phone that you used to text your ex on, that might be a problem. Either way, if you want to find out more details, just Google AU Terra, that's Terra jewelry online. As we get into some news, Graham, this jewelry of a man is standing by. He's a gem.
Well, soon to be a crowning jewel in the crown of Cape Town. The Cape Town Metro plans to spend some 44 million rand on road upgrades in Greenpoint in preparation for the Formula E race set to take place around the Cape Town Stadium and Greenpoint Park. Now, Cape Town was recently named as the new host city for the FIA's provisional Formula E race in Canada. That was for the 2021-22 season. Cape Town Mayor Dan Plato said the city's contribution to the race event is dwarfed in comparison to the return on investment from hosting such an established international sporting event. Then staying in South Africa, the Electoral Commission of South Africa, or the IEC, has filed an urgent application in the Constitutional Court to request that the impending local government elections be postponed. It is contemplating that citizens head to the polls on the 23rd of February in 2022. However, it has also cautioned that the future is inherently uncertain, such as new variants or a crisis with vaccine supply. So should voting take place on the 23rd of February of next year, the Health Department anticipates that it would have fully vaccinated some 67%, or around 40 million of the population. Casting a wider net now on the international front, the World Health Organization, the WHO, has called for a suspension on booster vaccines for COVID-19 until at least the end of September. WHO Chief Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said a pause would allow for at least 10% of the population in every country to be vaccinated. This as a number of nations, including Israel and Germany, have announced plans to administer a third dose. Now, the WHO says low-income countries have only been able to administer 1.5 doses for every 100 people due to a lack of supply. Then a little bit closer to home, the Namibian Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture has reportedly allocated 800 million rand to renovate and reconstruct 552 schools nationwide. This as the COVID-19 pandemic has exposed the lack of adequate health and sanitation facilities at educational establishments. Now, revamping will include proper ablution facilities, residence accommodation, kitchen facilities, and access to drinking water. The ministry said adequate health, sanitation, and accommodation facilities need to be enhanced to ensure a safe learning environment for all teachers, learners, and institutional workers. Namibia has around 1,920 schools. And now, news of the brilliant birds way down under. The old adage states that birds of a feather flock together, but in the case of Sydney, Australia, it is more a case of birds of a feather being cleverer together. Sulphur-crested cockatoos in the city suburbs have worked out how to open the lids of bins to scavenge for food by watching each other, and the technique is clearly catching on. These cockatoos were the first to be observed by ornithologist Richard Major. Initially, the lid-lifting birds were active in only 3 suburbs back in 2018, but by late 2019 it spread to 44 suburbs. After analysing videos of 160 of the clever birds, Major decided that most had learned the trick by watching their peers. The Major said it's quite a feat of skill, as they have to grasp a bin lid with their beaks and then pry it open. While many animal numbers have declined with the expansion of Australian cities, these bold and flamboyant birds have generally thrived, and that's not trash talk. That's where we leave our news headlines for now. Let's get back into the sport.
Sorry, G, I just looked at that bird and I thought my spirit animal was on. I had to come and do the weather for you. So, yeah, it just makes sense. Anyway, groundbreaking news from space is that astronomers have uncovered evidence of water vapor in the atmosphere of Jupiter's gigantic moon, Ganymede. Now, this water vapor forms when ice from the moon's surface sublimates, that is, turns from solid to gas. Now, scientists used new and archival data sets from NASA's Hubble Space Telescope to make the discovery, which has been published in the journal Nature Astronomy. Previous research has offered circumstantial actual evidence that Ganymede, the largest moon in the solar system, contains more water than all of Earth's oceans. However, temperatures there are so cold that water on the surface is frozen solid. Ganymede's ocean would reside roughly 100 miles below the crust. Thus, the water vapor would not represent the evaporation of this ocean. Now, the water vapor now measured originates from ice sublimation caused by thermal escape of water vapor from the warm icy regions. More on this exciting news regarding Ganymede as a planetary body and even potential habitat, believe it or not. Be sure to catch the interview with Dr. Daniel Kanema, science engagement astronomer at the SA Astronomical Observatory, just after our weather news. Now, we also have many international viewers tuning in on our YouTube channel as well as the Africa channel, which broadcasts to the USA. So for the 7 a.m. update, we have taken some inspiration for the International City feature from our news story about schools getting upgrades. So we are featuring the African city of Windhoek, now the largest city in Namibia. Now, Windhoek has over 300 sunny days per year and experiences a hot, semi-arid climate with the annual average temperature above 18 degrees Celsius. Today, we'll be having plenty of sunshine, which will reach a maximum of 26 degrees Celsius. A little later in the show, we'll also have, we'll find out a bit more about Namakwalan flowers that are beginning to bloom. So if you have been fortunate enough to see these annual flowers, please share those photos with us too. Nick Lombard, a regular contributor and a friend of the show, shared these beautiful images with us recently while he was in Namakwalan. And last but not least, Samuel B. Jacobs, the second, he's from Beaufort West, another regular Sunrise contributor, shared this gorgeous skyline scattered with hues of red and blue as the day transitions from night to day. Absolutely gorgeous. Please keep it coming and continue to share your beautiful sunrise photos with us on the Expresso Facebook page. And don't forget to share any photos of the Namakwalan flowers. We'd love to see those too. As we jump onto some of the temperatures from across South Africa, and let's get that started. Polokwane, good morning. 6 to 23 for you today. Bombela, 11 to 30. Pretoria, you can expect 9. But you rise to 23 degrees Celsius later, a minimum of 9 for Johannesburg, 21 is the max. Mahikeng, 8 to 25. Klerksdorp, 6 to 25 for you. Kimberley, 5 to 26. Bloemfontein, just 1 is where you stop. Jaw up to 24, looking good. Richards Bay, 14 to 26. Pietermaritzburg, what a gorgeous day for you, 27 degrees Celsius, 8 is the low. Durban, 15 to 23. Umtata, you can expect 7 up to 24. East London, 14 to 20 with a 50% chance of rain. Cradock, you can expect 7, but you're up to 25 this afternoon with a 40% chance of precipitation in your area. Gqeberha, good morning, 12 to 19, 55% chance of rain. George, 9 to 17. Cape Town, 8, you're up to 19. Snap for Worcester, 19 degrees Celsius as a max from a minimum of 5. -2 in Sutherland, very chilly, but up to 15. And then Uppington, 6 to 25 degrees Celsius. Thank you so much for sending in those sunrise photos. Please keep it coming. And if you were interested in the Ganymede connection in Jupiter and maybe even a potential habitat for human life somewhere in the distant future, then stand by because some space news is coming up.
It's been a while, far too long, since we've connected with our favorite astronomer, Dr. Daniel Kanema, and there is so much to catch up on. Starting with this story, astronomers have now uncovered evidence of water vapor in the atmosphere of one of Jupiter's many moons. Ganymede, and Dr. Dan is here to tell us more. Daniel, great to connect with you. How you been, man?
Good, man. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, it's so good chatting about the worlds beyond and where we could potentially end up in the future. But where do we begin, perhaps, with the fact that Jupiter has over 70 confirmed moons, I believe? Is that 70? 70?
Yeah, I think we're up to 79 now. It's hard to confirm them because, some of them are quite small. It's hard to observe these things.
But now we have been observing one in particular, Ganymede, and we have realized something quite interesting about it. How did they uncover evidence of water vapor in the atmosphere there? What evidence did they find?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a story with Ganymede. So Ganymede's the largest moon in our solar system. So it's quite an interesting one, particularly if you're looking at sort of other places we could visit. And way back in '98. Which doesn't seem that long ago for you and I, but for some people might be. They identified magnetic fields, so it's the only moon with magnetic fields. So it's essentially like a planet, or operating like a planet. And the assumption at that point was that it's got a very large ocean, so more water than we have on Earth even. but because it's very cold, it's all frozen over. So there's this ice ocean. And so there wasn't any sort of thought of how to observe this water, but they suspected there might be oxygen in the atmosphere. So that's why Hubble was pointed at it recently, to try and identify this oxygen. And they didn't find oxygen, or they didn't find very much oxygen, but they found water vapor instead.
Well, wait, if my science is correct, right, water is H2O, which means it's got hydrogen, I think, and oxygen. Doesn't that mean... Wait, before I figure that out and get my brain twisted, how exactly is this water vapor even formed to begin with?
Yeah, you're right. 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. That's water.
Okay.
We were looking for...
Revealing my intelligence on TV, it was a bit nerve-wracking there.
The atomic oxygen that we breathe is just 2 oxygens, that's O2. So that's what they were looking for. But how the vapor formed, so there's this sea of water which now resides underneath the surface. The estimate is it's about 800 kilometers deep, so very, very deep. But because it's very cold, it's got a very thick crust of ice. So there's no liquid water, it's too cold for liquid water. But the water vapor that they've now observed is when in the middle of the day, so it doesn't get a lot of sun, but in the middle of the day at its hottest point, some of this ice does something called sublimation. So it sublimates and basically goes from solid to gas in one go. Most people have observed sublimation. It's if you look at dry ice, if you get some dry ice, it just evaporates, right? It doesn't form a liquid in between. And that's essentially what's happening here. So this is what we've now observed, this water vapor in the atmosphere.
So aside from it being like the ideal planet to shoot a music video, where you've got the sublimation going on.
Store lots of ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. How is this information, this new information about Jupiter's moon going to help us? What's the bigger picture?
Yeah, so there's new missions going out to Jupiter soon, particularly to look at these moons. And we basically want to understand how big gas planets form, and then the moons around them, how they get to have so much water, whether these things could sustain life, and if they formed 4 billion years ago and it's been sitting with liquid water at its core for that amount of time with some warmth, there's a possibility that life could have evolved somewhere in that ocean. So trying to understand these different environments and how they've formed and evolved gives us different avenues for exploring life and how it can form and evolve.
This is like the stuff you used to dream of as a kid.
I'm sorry, man. I've just been going through Star Wars, and there's an ice planet, and there's, I love the fact that we are learning so much, and our ability to process this data is teaching us so much about our own planet, about our own science. It really is so exciting. Dr. Dan, you never fail to ignite the imagination and our excitement in science, buddy. Thank you so much. We love connecting with you, bro.
Always a pleasure.
It really is always great catching up, uncovering so much of the magic, this universe, and all the hidden wonders that we have. And I can't wait until we get to that day. You know what day it is, when we get to that planet and we rock out.
Just seeing a moonwalk.
Nourish your skin with Ingram's Camphor Cream, enriched with camphor and glycerine. Trusted to restore and repair dry skin. Ingram's, your skin, your brave.
Still smell the wine we spilled in your car. No amount of running will ever get me far. Sometimes all it takes is a song, and I'm right back to where we broke the rules. Skipping school, just points, heads for science. No drift, no check classes, no good, so good. I wanna blow up. I just want it forever, I want it. Sometimes this road is harsh, and it can get so dark, it's what we want.
Welcome back, you beautiful souls. We're live right here on S3, opening up to something sweet and good. Now, if cheesecake is one of your favorite desserts and you're looking for a different way to enjoy it, then you'll be inspired by our Fruits of the Forest cheesecake dumplings. Does that not sound good and strange? But all these creamy fruit flavors are in one Moorish snack. And here to show us how, it's Michaela in the building.
Woo!
I'm so excited because I know you are like a specialist when it comes to like baking and cakes and all the good stuff that the devil brought to this world to tempt us with. So is this something similar? Is this going to be along the trend of sweet goodness, snackish, like just love and enjoyment?
It's kind of like a donut, but not a donut, but it's got a surprise, but it's just a lot. There's a lot happening.
It sounds good.
And we kind of have to like start from the beginning because there's like so many elements to
All right, let's get straight into it then. So what are we doing
on your
first?
side, you're doing the cheesecake mix.
All right, and I'm using the Fruits of the Forest cereal mix as well, which is great.
Yes.
Got cereals, got granola, got oats in here. I've got cheese. Is this cheese?
Cream cheese.
Cream cheese and icing sugar, right?
Yes.
All right, I'll get onto this while you take it away on your side. What are you up to over there?
I literally just have some flour and a pinch of salt.
Okay.
And some warm water.
All right.
And we're going to make the dumpling mix. You just want to bring it together until it gets to a dough. Today's hands
Are we getting the hands
day
dirty?
for me.
Ah, okay. That's always not a bad thing. I mean, you're working out in the kitchen, you're going to earn this. So it's good to burn some coals in the process, you know?
Of course you'd think about that element of this. I was just thinking, how am I going to do things when my hands are really messy after this? You're going to have to take over and just like...
Yeah, I got you. I got you. We have the perfect balance. Don't worry. We're the perfect team. We got this. I'll provide all the good reasons to enjoy this.
And then if we completely fail, there's a whole section in the middle here that's already pre-done for us.
All right,
but we
all
might even mess that up. So someone's done a pre-done one for us over here.
But hopefully it just means we've had some good practice and we can show off the final result here. What am I looking for in terms of consistency in this? Is it just to get it nice and smooth and mixed up?
Exactly.
Or chunky?
We actually gave you like a difficult task giving you a spoon to do that. Like ideally you'd want to do it with...
Challenge accepted.
Make sure all the lumps are gone.
Yeah, so
but
ideally a fork or something like with
or
a spatula work? No?
a hand mixer.
What is a hand mixer?
Like, you know, like a...
Oh, the old fancy things y'all got in the kitchen.
No,
I
that's
just
not the
came with my
fancy
hands. That's all that should do, right?
I mean, you could always stick your hand in that. I would be 100% okay with you sticking your hand.
I have sanitized, but let's just keep it clean for today. I'm getting through this. I'm working with my spoon. I'm winning this challenge. So you guys are going to have to be a little bit harder than that next time because these pies have been in for it. Yes! How are you looking on your side over there? I think I'm pretty good. It's looking nice and smooth. I got all the chunks out.
Perfect.
Yes.
Looks better than the trial one we had in the middle. Okay, now you have to eat some of it while we wait.
I will taste it though because it does look...
Is there enough Fruits of the Forest in there? Because if there isn't, you can always add more.
I don't know if this is right, but I'm getting some of this good creaminess out of this.
Cheesecake, man.
Cheesecake, there's a creaminess coming from the yogurt, but I must just say, one of the benefits, and I know this although I can't taste, is the fact that it's a great source of vitamins. It comes in various flavors like you can see, and you can use it in this recipe and so many others. You can get creative. It provides the sweetness, that umami that you need in your baking goodness.
Did you just use umami?
I might have used the umami. I don't know if that was a good...
I mean, I don't think it was the correct term, but like, let's just...
out on it? No one noticed.
Okay. Okay, so then what you do is you're going to grab a little bowl of this.
Okay, we're getting to it. I licked my hands, so let me just clean them again before I
so you
get into that.
A little...
Joy, I got you. There we go. Nice. Okay, what are we making out of this?
Okay, so there's a little ball for you.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, and you flatten it out.
Yeah.
With your fingers. Or like that.
Like that.
There we go.
Okay.
And you're going to take this teaspoon and just fill a little bit of the filling in there.
Ooh, okay. We're getting our dumpling on now.
See, and this is the problematic thing because I'm Chinese and dumplings are our thing, so I should actually be filling that.
you just handle your dough over there. Well, I'll take over from you. Don't worry. So you're putting a little bit of what I've just made.
And then you want to pull up and pinch the edges together at the top.
Okay, pulling up. Pinching the edges together.
Pinch. There we go.
Pinch. There we go.
And make sure the filling is filled. So all those little corners, you just want to wrap them around. There we go, like that.
Look at that.
That's how you do it.
2 pairs of hands to
A
do this
bad
one. This
piece
is a special one.
dumpling.
I can see you kind of disapproving my dumpling making over here.
It's fine. So we have some oil that's been heated over here. And how I test to see if your oil is hot enough is you take a wooden stick and you stick it in. And if little bubbles form around it, there we go, that's perfect.
Then you know
The
you're good to
oil
go.
is hot.
Okay.
So we're just going to take the dumpling that you made. That looks great.
All right. Are you just going to carry on the whole segment with one hand?
Pretty much. And we just dump it on in there.
That's how easy it is. You don't even need a set of hands. You can just do it with one.
You just do it with one.
And how long would it take eventually to get to that beautiful end product on the right-hand side?
So we're going to hope that it gets to a golden brown color, but I doubt it will happen in our time. Once it gets golden brown, it will float to the top.
Okay.
And then
Like in our time, like our era is
we're done.
And then you've got that beautiful product over there. While I finish on making this, I want to get to the good stuff and show everybody what it's going to end up looking. Of course, you can get this recipe on Expresso.
Are you eating it?
Yeah,
Go
why
for gold.
not? Am I not allowed to?
No, go for gold.
Made by one hand as well, Mzansi. You can get this recipe on expressoshow.com. It's absolutely crunchy. It's got that that goodness to it.
Whoa.
Oh, look at that ooey, juicy goodness. It's sweet. It's everything I need in my morning. And this is going to be the perfect way to enjoy the next entertainment bit. Thank you, Michaela. Well done.
Fruits of the forest from Clover just added real cereal crunch. A symphony of fruit, oats, seeds, and granola crunch. Fruits of the forest. Real fruit, real cereal, real tastes.
Made with love by Clover.
After that delicious recipe made with one hand, I will now introduce the guest with one hand, okay, in our time. And here it comes. So, this particular person we chatted to a little earlier, her name is CCV, and she's super talented. Now, this next song that you're about to hear, it's called Wild Hearts, and it actually was featured on a US TV series just yesterday called Good Trouble, which shows you that our South Africans, like this talented one right here, are putting us on the map. So, stand by. It's a 2021 single. This is Wild Hearts from CCV, all in with one hand. Here we go.
I still smell the wine we spilled in your car. No amount of running will ever get me far. Sometimes all it takes is a song, and I'm right back to where we broke the rules, skipping school, vicious hearts, head full of stars, road trips through my heart-shaped glasses. The world looked so good. Wild hearts, wild hearts. I don't wanna grow up. I just thought we lived forever. I just thought we lived forever. Wild hearts, wild hearts. Sometimes this road is harsh and it can get so dark. It swallows you whole, and all I want is to play another song and go back, go back, go back to where we made the rules. They called us fools, vicious hearts, head full of stars, watching trains through my heart-shaped glasses. The world looks so good. Wild hearts, wild hearts. I don't wanna grow up. I just thought we lived forever. I just thought we lived forever. Wild hearts, wild hearts. Wild hearts, wild hearts. I don't wanna grow up. I just thought we lived forever. I just thought we lived forever. Wild hearts, wild hearts.
Yes! 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 CCV, If you want more on your TV from CCV, then stay right there. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso on S3. That was amazing. Well done.
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Welcome back. You're live with Expresso. Thank you so much for keeping it locked. We're about to inspire you right now. Now, the strenuous impact of the COVID-19 lockdown and the restrictions on many businesses has been worsened, of course, by the unrest the country recently experienced. In light of this, Diageo South Africa has launched a 25 million rand relief initiative to help businesses that were destroyed and looted in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. And we are being joined right now via video call by their marketing director, Zizwe Vundla, to find out more about what sounds like an amazing initiative. Zizwe, very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm all the better for connecting with you and hearing about what you are doing on the ground floor. Absolutely amazing. So kudos straight off the bat. I'm going to ask you first up, how have you been key in supporting establishments in Johannesburg, in Durban and in Cape Town through the COVID-19 pandemic and obviously the devastating effects of these lockdown restrictions?
So the last year and a bit has been crazy for the alcohol industry. And I think sometimes people forget just what a huge value chain this is, right? So the people who are affected were everyone from bottle manufacturers to waitresses to, manufacturers like us. And so it's a huge value chain, but we were always being committed to South Africa and to the industry. We were always absolutely positive that we had to be part of the solution. So what we did over the last year was actually contribute over just around 200 million rand to ensure that these outlets were able to remain open, giving them stock injections to ensure that they were able to, again, remain open, have vibrant outlets, and just be able to keep people in their jobs. Because, I think what's important to realize that there's a lot of livelihoods in this industry, and it actually just affects the ability of people to put food on the table. So we just needed to be part of making sure that these outlets, the whole value chain, were able to continue contributing to the South African economy.
I'm so glad that you have identified this as a complete ecosystem that needs to be looked at holistically, and not to get too dark now, but let's set the scene. In your industry, what has been the combined impact of the COVID-19 lockdown, as well as the recent terrible week-long, or just over a week-long looting and rioting? What has that effect been?
It's been massive. You know, even if I just don't talk about what all the prohibition did over the last year and I focus on the week of unrest, you know, it's estimated at just around 1.4 billion rand, billion with a B, so it's massive. But I think what's more important, because sometimes we can get numb by the numbers, is that you have to remember that there's people behind those numbers, right? There are tavern owners in KZN, for example, who didn't have insurance. So once that tavern burned down, that was it. There are people who we spoke to in KZN again who'd had, you know, families, outlets in their family for over 100 years. That's completely burned to the ground, yeah? So again, I just think it's always important to come back to the human element, because the numbers can make you numb, and just realize that, you know, the unrest alone, and then that year-long prohibition really affected the ability of people to support their families, to feed their families, to take their kids to school. So it's a massive impact.
Yeah, these are breadwinners, and ultimately these are children that potentially could go hungry. It has gotten that hectic. So obviously it's great to have the notion, and we all want to do something, but you've got books to balance. Ultimately, you've got a business to run. How did you recognize that you, as Diageo, could help with this remarkable cash injection of 25 million, which is quite a statement to make right now?
Yeah, look, I don't think there was ever any question that we were going to be part of the solution and part of helping in the rebuild, right? And that's why we moved so fast. So once the shock wore off, you know, once we saw these, you know, once we kind of wore off, and you know, we were very quickly back at it and trying to figure out, how do we be a part of the solution? What does a support plan look like? Yeah, and so we were able to do that very quickly, because again, like I said, you know, there's interdependencies, right? And we can't win if our partners are not winning, and that's why we're able to move so fast. And it was almost a no-brainer to invest this, because we have to win collectively.
Completely. So obviously it's great to have the funds available, but we need to make sure that they are used correctly. How are these funds going to be implemented?
So there's three main ways. The first one is that obviously we need to support the cleanup and the rebuild, right? Because you can't sell if you don't have an outlet to sell in, right? So the first part is just ensuring that we're able to support that rebuild. The second one is in stock injections, because you need to have something to sell. So there'll be substantial investment in being able to supply stock to these outlets. And then the third one is a cash injection, because if you think about it right now, because they're not selling, they're not able to do things like pay their staff. So those are the three main ways. On top of that, we will be offering marketing support, and there's some concessions we're making in terms of trade payments with our trade partners.
Looking at the whole ecosystem, as I said. Zizwe, thank you so much for I think, most importantly, doing what you're doing, but also proclaiming this to the rest of South Africa to hopefully start a movement. We need more companies with your kind of footprint to follow suit. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. Really, really so impressive.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Diageo's customers can rest assured in knowing that the organization stands by them and continues to give back to them during these extraordinary times and very tough times. Let's now connect with Eitan Stern to chat about pricing regulation and competition in South Africa, also a very hot topic.
Indeed, a very good topic to discuss. But before we do it, it's always a pleasure to see that man's intro. You know we're doing some serious business.
I feel like you should have started off with, and the award goes to. It just has that
Either
feel
that
to it.
or Avengers Assemble.
Intro anymore. It still hits the same way every time.
I love it. Oh, well, look, we're talking about something crazy, and get this. If you're South African, right, and maybe you're lucky enough to be able to afford 136 Rand 50. Yes, 136 650, and that'll be for a week's amount of basic food, then that means you're living on the economic bread line. Now, it's not much for many of us, it's a lot for some of us, but now imagine no longer being able to sustain yourself because of price hikes due to COVID-19 pandemics, and you can understand clearly the problem that excessive pricing can cause, yeah.
Indeed. So we had to call upon this person with an amazing intro and for legal guidance, of course. It's our friend and expert in law, director at legalese.co.za, Eitan Stern, to answer the question, the prices on essential items have been way too steep.
Yeah.
So now what?
So now what?
Hey, Stern, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. I hope I can help. It's a complex topic.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's start off with the basics.
Yes.
I think it's a lot of things, there are a lot of factors around how things are priced.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes I wonder, like, why is it priced? And it's always like something 40.
Is it
and
a
you're
random
wondering,
number that they just make up? Like, let's be honest here. What's the deal?
So pricing is an interesting topic, and there's no exact price. There's no exact science into pricing.
Yes.
Pricing is supposed to be decided by supply and demand. That's what you want. You want the great forces of capitalism to be at work, and whatever people are willing to pay for it and how much is it in the market, that's what decides the pricing.
Yeah.
But there are always going to be other instances where there's restrictions on pricing or guidelines. So if, right now because of COVID, we're seeing international distribution become a lot more expensive. It's a lot more expensive to send pallets around the world.
Okay.
That increases prices. If there's less supply in the market and there's still demand, that's going to raise the price. But you might find other sort of factors, like the supplier might give a recommended guideline. And that'll always be written on the packaging to say recommended retail price. Now, people can decide not to use that price. Retailers can decide not to use that price, but that would be the supplier's recommended price. And then the big one, which is kind of topical, is the Competition Act. And the Competition Act tries to avoid what they call price fixing. So when two dominant market players, when big companies try collude with each other to cut the smaller guys out the market, and to fix a price at a higher price, and that's not allowed, and that's kind of what's become quite topical.
Okay, well, I mean, let's take a real-life example. I mean, if you look at right now, this world we're living in, prices are inflating. Obviously, things like the pandemic. We just recently had a looting incident in KZN, amongst other chaos, which has caused spikes in prices. Now, do you get to a point where there's something like excessive pricing, or do we have a part to say in this where it's like we don't have to accept it? Yes, we don't have to buy the item, but is there something that can go beyond that when it comes to excessive pricing? Is that a thing?
So excessive pricing, look, it is a thing, but it's a complex thing. And generally, companies, in regular circumstances, companies can charge whatever they want. So cars, a pair of shoes right there, might cost more than, it's fantastic Nike shoes, might cost more than another perfectly adequate pair of shoes. And that's because of the goodwill and the status and the brand around it. And so they can raise the price, even though it might not cost more to make than another pair of shoes. So, and that's capitalism, right? Like, people are going to charge as much as they want for things. But in irregular circumstances, such as when there's been looting or the COVID pandemic, and companies try to take advantage. So it happened around the face masks, and companies were suddenly shooting the prices up with no real basis other than just trying to make profit. And that becomes unfair to the consumer. So our Minister of Trade and Industries has the ability to say these are excessive pricing, and he can make rules to stop it. So around the face masks, or around basic goods like milk and eggs and bread, they can set price limits on it to avoid excessive pricing. But it's only going to be but if they're doing that, they're essentially saying to companies, you're not allowed to play in a free market anymore. You're not allowed to decide what your price is going to make. And you start messing with supply and demand. So it's only going to be in quite exceptional circumstances, like the COVID pandemic, where they did a brilliant thing and said, you're not allowed to charge whatever you want for these masks. And certainly, I imagine there's going to be some repercussions around the looting, because people getting food is more important than companies making as much money as they can.
And let's hope that this particular legality goes around data as well, because when people are working from home, I'm hoping that there could be some sort of subsidiary around that.
Amen.
Let me jump into my soapbox very quickly and let you know about that. But there is lots more to this than meets the eye, and we'll be back in a couple of moments figuring out, so now what, with our favorite lawyer and guy with great intro, Eitan Stern.
And for our next act.
Indeed. Are you worthy? He is worthy.
Yes, welcome back. Of course, we're live and still continuing our discussion with lawyer and director at legalese.co.za. It's Aiton Stern in the building, and he's breaking down the legal ins and outs of how pricing is regulated and kept competitive in South Africa. Now, we were chatting earlier about some of the competition involved in it, some of the bad things that are happening right now and current legalities going through. But let's talk about something when it comes to excessive pricing. Can it be harmful to someone to the extent that something needs to be done about this? You mentioned earlier there was some potential ramifications when it comes to this pandemic and how the minister can get involved. But what else is it that can be done when it comes to when we see something just to be too excessive?
Sure. So we've got, South Africa's got quite strong competition laws, and the laws are there to avoid big companies harming the consumer by charging things that people can't manage to pay, or for big companies colluding and stopping smaller companies from being able to compete. What do you do if you suspect this happening? Well, you can report it to the Consumer Commission. And that's a body that's meant to take consumer complaints. There's also the National Competition Commission, and they are there in order to receive competition complaints. And that's not just for consumers, that's also for small businesses. So let's say you're in an e-commerce market and you feel like you can't get supply of your product because the big guys in the market or the big girls in the market are taking all the product or pricing in a way to keep you out. Small business, it's there for small business to report these things. So if you're ever a small business owner is ever in a situation where they feel like they can't compete fairly, that's what the Competition Commission is there for. And you can report it to them. I think there's an online portal to do it. And they will take the case on if they feel it's worthwhile.
That's good. I'm glad there's a reporting platform. And yes, Soapbox has jumped on. Data is a big thing. It is, but no, because I'm just thinking if you're going to keep an economy going by getting people to work from home, why are the data rates still so ridiculous?
Totally. 100%. I mean, that's been an issue here for a while. Data is too expensive in South Africa.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know the unit economics or the ins and outs of running a cell phone company. They're quite big companies, but, you know, and I mean, they do a lot for the country in making sure that we got cell phones, but at the same time, if many other countries around the world can have cheaper calls than data, I don't see why South Africa is different. I challenge them to answer that.
Please do.
I would love to hear the answer there. Look, let's just chat about something that I've maybe noticed this quite a bit. What is the reason for, and is there a big discrepancy when it comes to like online purchasing, getting something delivered, or going to the shop and purchasing it? And then again, different shops having exorbitant variations in prices, from 8 Rand for a soft drink to 30 Rand, I've experienced. What's going on here?
100%. So, I mean, this is kind of the beauty in capitalism. This is the free market system, right? Prices are supposed to be decided by supply and demand. So if you want to buy a soft drink and you're walking down the main road and they're available everywhere, you're going to pay 8 Rand. If you're sitting on Clifton Beach and the sun is out and there's one guy walking around with soft drinks, well, supply and demand, he's going to be able to charge a lot more. So that's totally allowed, right? The idea with online versus retail stores, it used to be a big thing that if you bought online, well, there'd be immediate cost saving, right? They don't have to pay rent, they don't have to pay salespeople and the staff in the shop, so it might bring the prices down. But the rules of capitalism apply. If a store is making additional profit, they might hand some of that over to the consumer and they might keep some of that profit themselves. So I think it's always important to vary and look what the prices are online and in stores to see what suits you best.
Well, it's been a great sort of eye-opening journey into this, and it's so important as well because there's so many people living on the breadline that need some support and need a reporting mechanism, and this is it. So thank you for that stern warning, like your surname, around pricing. We all need to eat. That is the thing. And let's hope that everybody makes sure that it's fair, and we can just kind of bring unity to the whole pricing structure thing. So please, on your screen now, that's exactly what you can call. Those are the platforms if you are seeing any sort of unfair pricing within any of your spaces and your consumer points as well. Talking about eating, I did mention that. I think we should stand by right now because the appetite has been just built up. So stand by for this.
And you're going to have to brace yourself for this one because we are taking dough to a whole nother level. This is going to be spectacular.
Made with love by Clover.
So different types of dough have inspired all of today's recipes. You might have picked that up. And up next, our Clover Bliss chocolate babka is smooth. It's rich brioche dough filled with chocolate, soft, buttery, and indulgent. What more could you ask for? Michaela, come on, man. This is the dough to beat all doughs. I actually thought it was a typo. That's how much of a fool I am. I'm like, is it a bake or babe? It's a babka. What is a babka? Am I even saying it right?
It is the correct. How did you say it the first time, though?
Bebke. So, what is it? Demystify the babka for us.
A babka is a brioche-based dough that you stuff with chocolate or sometimes custard.
Get out.
I know.
Or both.
Or
but today we're going with
caramelized apples.
Oh, wow.
Or anything you want.
Anything sweet and crazy. This is beautiful, delicious.
Guess who gets to make the dough?
It's spectacular. Can I use both hands or must I use your patented one-handed technique?
Well, you know, I kind of had to do other things as well, so you need...
No, for sure. No, you've been superb with your one hand. I'm going to try this with both hands. Okay, so am I going to start the process here?
Yes.
What do I need to do?
You're making an enriched dough.
Enriched dough. Okay, is that because we're adding butter?
Butter and eggs.
Okay, we're enriching it.
But the butter is the thing we add last.
All right.
So you're going to throw in all your dry ingredients first.
Just some ahoy.
Yes.
This is caster sugar.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Pinch of salt.
And I've learned that you don't put the salt and the yeast together, hey?
Exactly, because the salt kills the yeast.
Yeah, we're looking after our yeast. You've always got to think of your yeast as a living thing that has to be nurtured and
It is 100% a living organism, though.
That's it, okay.
Perfect. Then you're going to add some lukewarm water to that.
Okay. I'm not going to stick my finger in the water, but I can feel that this is
Don't stick it all in. Use your eyeball and then use your hand.
Am I using hands from the get-go? Okay, well, look, I'm going to start mixing with this spoon.
That's how real bakers do it.
Okay.
Then on my end, I'm adding some of our Clover Bliss, the chocolate one.
Oh, creamy, decadent deliciousness.
And to that, I will add some cornstarch to help thicken it up.
Okay.
And some chocolate chips, but I'm not going to use all of them because I want to use some of them for the filling.
You are like tripling up on the chocolatey goodness for this one.
For reals. Okay. So then you will keep mixing this until it's thickened a little bit and all the cornstarch is dissolved and the chocolate has melted.
Okay, so in my dough, sorry to interrupt you, in my dough making thing, so are we at the point that I can start using my hands yet? Is it that kind of thing or a bit more water? What do you think?
A little bit more.
Cool.
Oh, and then there's also 2 eggs here, so you might want to throw those in.
Fantastic. Come, my little friends.
We just pretend as if I know what I'm doing.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
No, come on, man. You've gotten to that point, and I'm in awe of you guys, where you do things intuitively. And I've started to get with some things when I'm cooking, because I've been lucky enough to cook with so many of you amazing foodies along the way, that I've started to become kind of intuitive when seasoning and when cooking certain things, but I'm way off that with baking. Because baking, it's kind of a science. It's like a crazy, mad scientist vibe, because you've got to get things right. You can't be too kind of... shoot from the hip. You've got to do, your measurements have to be right. You've got to kind of follow the process, you know?
Yeah.
How's that looking?
So now you stick your hand in there and you can start mixing.
Okay.
And while you're doing that, I'm just going to move on to the next process, which is once you have a brioche dough, which will be a nice yellow color from the eggs and the butter.
Can I steal a little bit of this?
Of course.
Thanks.
Nice.
It feels quite wet. Is that
Maybe
right?
we should have added less water at this point in time.
But
your intuition was slightly wrong.
Yeah, lesson learnt. We don't make these mistakes twice. So your dough looks beautiful, actually.
It is, right? It's elastic, it's yellow, and...
Okay, so we're going to run out of time here because I've been playing in the dough for too long. So how do we round this beauty off?
Then, once it's formed more of a togetherness, you gradually add blocks of the butter in.
Enrich it.
It will get to a stage where it's, like, very sticky again.
Okay.
But you just have to keep working it, and eventually it will come together. Sorry, this is a bit very elastic at this point in time.
And that's the gluten, eh?
The glutens are definitely built in this.
Great.
And what you do is then take your filling that you've made.
Oh, my goodness. I see it's gone with the addition of the cornstarch. It's gone quite gelatinous, which is great. So you want that to be quite thick, yeah.
And then you put that in there. Add some choc chips.
Goodness.
Ooh.
So you're going to get those, like, pops of oozage.
Exactly. So you'd want to roll this out a little bit more, but we don't have time for that.
No, just get the overall effect, the idea.
Then you want to roll that into a roulade, and you will slice this down the center.
Okay.
Which is like so.
This is so exciting.
And
We've made some amazing things today, but this is hands down the most exciting thing that we've made.
And you'd want to open it up so that the moist side is up.
Okay.
And then pinch the ends together, stretch it on out, and you want to plait it.
Oh, wow.
Like so. And you round it on up. And then you will take that and put it on a baking tray, stick it in the oven for 180 degrees Celsius until golden brown and cooked.
And cooked and delicious, and enjoy it warm and hot with the oozage. As I said, this is amazing. This is the most exciting thing we've made all day. I've got both dirty hands. You did get both dirty hands today. You can find this amazing recipe for our babka on expressoshow.com. In fact, all of our dough-inspired genius, courtesy of Makeda this morning, you can find on that website. And I really suggest you get stuck in. If you've missed any of the steps, we'll take you through a blow-by-blow.
Made with love by Clover. Oh, you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, beautiful souls. Thursday live right here on S3, and the magic is about to continue. And we are back on the stage with the Expresso old pop artist. It's CCV, and she's about to drop and hit us with her latest single called Black Light. Take it away.
Caught up in your black light, broken into pieces, like endearing lights frozen. Listen to your breathing, if all you were sleeping, and not breathing back, baby. myself right. I will make a U-turn tonight. I won't fall in love with you again. Shade always comes before the end. I won't fall in love with you again. That shade always comes before the end. I could have done much worse, so I'm not gonna lie. Got so hard sometimes I visualize bad things happening to you. Wanted to stick it to you way too many times. Racing down the highway and the wind dry tears on my face. The moon was leering at me. Is this what it means to be free? My colors were slowly dying in your black light. I had to walk away to get myself right. I won't make a U-turn tonight. I won't fall in love with you. That shade always comes before the end. I won't fall in love with you again. That shade always comes before the end. My colors were slowly dying in your black light. I had to walk away to get myself right. I won't make a U-turn tonight. I won't fall in love with you. That shade always comes before the end. I won't fall in love with you again. That shade always comes before the end.
That's how you turn our studio into an absolute rock concert. CC Music, of course, not going anywhere. CCV will be performing a little bit later, so don't go anywhere. But it's time to kick off with the latest in the news. Let's find out what's happening.
Thanks so much. Well, let's start here in South Africa, where the Department of Correctional Services says it is on track to vaccinate the entire inmate population by mid-August and will soon reach herd immunity. Spokesperson Singabako Nxumalo said the vaccinations are not mandatory, but prisoners are encouraged to receive them. More than 68,500 prisoners have so far been vaccinated. To date, some 5,700 inmates have tested positive, 9,340 officials and 220 officials and 90 inmates have succumbed to COVID-19. Then the Cape Town Metro plans to spend some 44 million rand on road upgrades in Greenpoint. That's in preparation for the Formula E race set to take place around the Cape Town Stadium and Greenpoint Park. Cape Town was recently named as the new host city for the FIA's provisional Formula E race in Canada for the 2021-22 season. Cape Town Mayor Dan Plato said the city's contribution to this race is dwarfed in comparison to the return on investment from hosting such an established international sporting event. Then casting a wider gaze on the international front, the Sudanese cabinet has now voted to ratify the founding treaty of the International Criminal Court, the ICC, a move bringing closer the possibility of former longtime President Omar al-Bashir facing trial for genocide. Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok said the draft bill to join the Rome Statute of the Hague-based court was passed unanimously. Hamdok said there would soon be a joint meeting between the ruling council and the cabinet to pass it into law. Then the World Health Organization, or the WHO, has called for a suspension on booster vaccines for COVID-19 until at least the end of September. WHO Chief Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said a pause would allow for at least 10% of the population in every country to be vaccinated. This as a number of nations, including Israel and Germany, have now announced plans to administer a third dose. The WHO says low-income countries have only been able to administer 1.5 doses for every 100 people due to a lack of supply, which has been well publicized. Next, how movies unite, inspire and entertain communities in Cape Town. Watching a movie for people in the townships can require travelling long distances or purchasing, let's be honest, unaffordable tickets. Well, Nkosinathi Kama, a resident of Khayelitsha close to Cape Town, has always wished for youth in his community to revel in the stories of the silver screen. And Kama presently works with Vuma Pop-Up Cinema, the travelling movie theatre that makes film accessible to all. Started in 2016, it's now become one of the most loved attractions for kids across South Africa. Kama says children's creativity, abilities and way of looking at life are improved. And with the help of community venues, Vuma Pop-Up Cinema shows movies all over. Queues of children line up for a seat, ready to unleash their imaginations and to be inspired. And Kama says, and we quote, "I just wish to help my communities, and the pop-up cinema is the best way to do that, because stories always bring people closer together." Hear, hear. On that very positive note, we round off all of our news headlines for the day. Let's delve into our weather one last time.
Thanks a lot, G. With the Olympic Games in Tokyo in full swing, evacuations were taking place yesterday in Greece's southern Peloponnese region due to a major fire near ancient Olympia, the birthplace of the Olympic Games, which was held there every 4 years from 776 BC for more than a millennium. People were also evacuated in boats from the island of Evia in heavy smoke. With some 120 wildfires raging in Greece, the European Union has sent assistance. Also to other Southeast European countries battling huge wildfires, the help came a day after another major blaze destroyed more than 100 homes and businesses near the Greek capital of Athens. This while temperatures in Greece reached 45 degrees Celsius yesterday, the worst heat wave since 1987. Neighboring countries face similar conditions, fueling deadly wildfires in Turkey and blazes in Italy and across the Mediterranean region. The heat wave is forecast to hover over the region until the end of the week. Now, while we enjoy experiencing a sunrise from your part of South Africa, we do also have some international viewers tuning in on both YouTube and the Africa channel in the US of A. And a little later in the show, we are joined by Chef Clem to make an Italian-style pizza and have taken some inspiration for our International City feature from this. With that said, there he is. Love this man. Okay, you can head over to Rome. And that is where the pizza comes from, the capital city of Italy. Now, it has been a major human settlement for almost 3 millennia. As such, the city boasts numerous historical sites attracting tourists from all over the world. Now, Rome has a Mediterranean climate with hot, dry summers and mild, humid winters, where temperatures can range from lows of 3 degrees Celsius to as high as 40 degrees Celsius in summer. Now, in contrast with the devastating fires happening across parts of Turkey and Greece, yellow warnings for thunderstorms and rain have been issued for Italy. So today, the city of Rome can expect less humid conditions and a maximum of 29 degrees Celsius. Bringing it back to our own shores just after this, we'll be chatting to Mike Spiss about the Namakwaland flowers that are beginning to bloom. So if you have been fortunate enough to see these annual flowers, please share those pictures with us. We'd love to see them. Nick Lombard did just that, a regular contributor and a friend of the show. He shared these beautiful pictures with us recently from his trip to Namakwaland. Samuel B. Jacobs II from Beaufort West, another regular Sunrise contributor, shared this gorgeous skyline scattered with hues of red and blue as the day transitions from night to day. And Janet Nicholson from Durban, who shared the stunning photo of the sun illuminating the clouds from behind. And of course, last but not least, Ronewa Nachanyane, and that's from Polokwane, who shared this lovely, lovely picture, scattered clouds across the sky in an area with the sun lighting up the sky over there. It looks absolutely beautiful. Please keep it coming and continue to share your beautiful sunrise photos with us on the Expresso Facebook page. And don't forget to share any photos with us. And if you have been to Namakwaland during flower season, we'd love to see those. As we get onto your temperatures for the day, let's take a look and give you some ideas as to what to wear. Polokwane, you're quite cold in the morning, 6 up to 23 later. So it's good to layer. Bombela, 11 to 30. Pretoria, 9 to 23, looking very, very good. Johannesburg, you're looking at 9. You're going to be up to 21 a little bit later. Mahikeng, 8 to 25. What a beautiful day. Klerksdorp, 6 to 25, a bit warmer your side too. Kimberley, 5 to 26. Bloemfontein, you only start with with 1 in the morning, but you are up to 24, so positivity is important. Richards Bay, 14 to 26. Pietermaritzburg, 8 to 27. So feels like summer, even though it's midwinter. Durban, 15 to 23. Mthatha, 7 to 24. East London, 14 to 20. You do have a 50% chance of rain in your area. Cradock, 7 to 25. Gqeberha, 12 to 19. A 55% chance of precipitation. George, you can expect 9 in the morning. You rise to 17. A minimum of 8 can be expected in Cape Town to a maximum of 19 degrees Celsius. Worcester, same maximum, 19 from a low of 5. Sutherland, -2, and that is the bottom of the temperatures from all. 15 the max though. And then Uppington, 6, you're up to 25 a little later. That's a wrap of your weather news as well as your temperatures for the day. And do remember, Namakwalan photos, send it my way, as well as Sunrise photos, the place to be, Expresso's Facebook page.
Now let's explore this beautiful country of ours and our amazing ecosystem. For a few precious weeks each year, the Cape is, let's call it a wonderland of wildflowers. Our fields and farms, our wetlands, our dunes are inundated with a period of magnificent colour and delicious smelling blooms. Just take a look at that.
Oh, Nature Boy's heart is absolutely smiling. Now, joining us this morning, it's Mike Spies from Namakwa Tours to tell us why this annual phenomenon is such an absolutely magnificent sight to see and experience. Mike, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, guys. Oh, great, thanks.
You're going to make me smile. You're getting me excited.
You've actually got already. I'm like, what can I not do this weekend so I can get in my car and I can get out and view? Why is this? I think for those of us who have experienced it, you get it. It's unique. That's the first thing that jumps off the page for me. Why do you think, as someone who gets to experience this on a whole different level, why is this such a unique experience? And why is it such, it's become almost not just a national treasure, but a global phenomenon, if you will?
Absolutely. And yeah, Graham, I mean, the first thing I think we need to remember is that Namakwaland, it's not only Namakwaland that has beautiful flowers. I mean, the West Coast, the Orange River, the Olifants River Valley, the Cederberg Mountains, Bido Valley, the Bokkerveld Plateau, which is the bulb capital of the world. No other place in the world has more bulbous species than Nieuwoudtville. Darling, for instance, has more than 1,000 species blooming only in September. So, but realizing that we are working with a semi-desert and in some places desert. And then once a year, after a few drops of rain, obviously we don't get the amount of rain in Namakwaland that you guys get down here in Cape Town. But yeah, knowing that this semi-desert actually explodes into this wonderland of flowers is something truly remarkable and special. And then also, I mean, the beautiful fields of flowers, they are great. But it's also about all those individual flowers, realizing that Namakwaland has more than 3,500 species that blooms. The diversity. Some of these flowers mimics a little fly. We call it the beetle daisy. And it looks like a couple of black spots just sitting in this flower petals. But in close inspection, it's actually a three-dimensional mimicking with ultraviolet colors of a fly, a specific fly, because this flower is much smaller than the other flowers in the veld, and it needs to attract pollinators. So the fly flies over this bunch of flowers, and he says, oh, there's a mate down there. Maybe I can go and chat with her. And when he gets down, there's no flies, but the moment he leaves that flower, he forgets what just happened, and the next flower fools him the same way, and that's how that specific species gets itself pollinated.
I want you as my tour guide, man. I want you. Are you free this weekend?
Oh, no, unfortunately not, but you guys can come down and do day tours as well.
I mean, speaking of tourism, man, I imagine this must be something, and it sounds for us as locals exciting, and G mentioned earlier, this is something that is world-renowned almost.
Absolutely.
How's this impacting tourism, especially during the pandemic, which caused absolute chaos? This must be such an exciting and good thing. Is it getting the numbers in? Is it causing that excitement amongst everyone in the country at the moment?
Guys, absolutely. I mean, last year also, I remember we were, I think, in level 5 or 4, where the provincial borders were still closed. And at 15 August, which was pretty much halfway into our flower season already, the borders opened. And you guys won't believe me, there were record numbers that went through gates like the Antam Botanical Gardens and Namakwa National Park and all those places. They recorded record numbers of people. So once the people were able to get out, They all went to Namaqualand because it was a great flower season. It was a great rainy year. But this year is even better. So, yeah, we are really fortunate that the South African market actually supports Namaqualand a lot. I mean, all these guest houses and farm stalls and everything, we are so dependent.
It's a whole value chain, for sure.
Dependent of this short period of the year.
But chatting to sandparks, they've also had record numbers. Clearly people now, because maybe we've been cooped indoors for so long, we desperately want to get out and experience the wild nature, and we've got such an abundance of it. But here's the thing, because you were saying earlier that no season is ever going to be the same. So this is almost like chasing the flowers. What tips do you have for someone who wants to go and maximize their experience, their value for money, if you will?
You need to plan.
Okay.
But you need to adapt. That's more important. You need to adapt to where the best flowers are. You need to adapt to the weather conditions. If, for instance, the best flowers, like at the moment, is at Van Reinsdorp, you can still visit other towns and other places around Van Reinsdorp with nice scenery or nice tourist attractions like the Quiver Tree Forest, the biggest in the world, the waterfall, the church that has a very interesting history in Nieuwoudetal, when it is overcast or rainy. But you want to visit Van Reinsdorp at the moment when it's the sunniest day of your trip. So you need to adapt like that. And the same goes throughout the whole of the region. And then you need to remember that the flowers don't grow the same each year, and also they're not the same every week. Every single week it changes. Like the flowers is blooming at the moment. It won't be there for another 2 weeks. But by then, other regions, other parts started blooming already. And then, very important tips is, come with a hat and sunglasses. You won't believe how important it is. And then, one of the most important things is that the flowers look towards the sun. I've had people that visited a perfect place at the perfect time, but they drove in the wrong direction. They drove towards the sun, so they just couldn't see the flowers. So yeah, remember that. Have the sun at your back, and then you can't view flowers 8 o'clock in the morning. They're not open yet. So anything from 11-ish, sometimes when it's a nice hot day, 10 o'clock, but 11-ish is the perfect time to start viewing flowers.
That's lekker, bro. Sleep in, have a lekker breakfast.
Exactly.
Then go and check out the flowers with the sun at your back. Dude. I mean, you're very good at what you do, first of all, so thank you so much for spreading that passion and that love, man. What are you doing this weekend?
Listen, I'm permanently on holiday for a living, so I need to be passionate about it.
I think we have a similar vibe.
Mike, man, thank you so much. Man. From the Nokko Tourism, it's exciting. I'm hoping that everybody gets an opportunity to come and visit you, so just thank you for your time this morning. And leaving you with this, the flower that blooms in adversity, it's the most rare and beautiful of all. You've heard from Mike how he's explicitly explained this. And it's certainly a quote that applies to these wildflowers. They can be seen from just a short period each year. This year is the most important time to go and see it. It's better than ever. And again, thank you, Mike, for taking the time to educate us on this magical annual occurrence. And if you'd like to have any further information, head over to namaquatour.com. You can see it online right now. And after the break, we're going to get to explore spring trends, which we can look forward to in fashion. Yeah.
Plan your next holiday with Marriott Hotels. Explore the best of Mzansi from our incredible coastlines, mountains, nature retreats, and bush escapes. Marriott Bonvoy members enjoy 20% off standard rates plus free breakfast, and non-members 15% off, and with flexible cancellation. Not yet a member? Join when you book. Book now on Marriott.com for the best rates guaranteed.
fresh taste that says you've arrived. Uyingakar. Living a life of illusion. Leaving your finances on the rocks. In this world of Bazotina Bantu, do you want a bank that takes your money or a bank that takes your money seriously?
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. This is Expresso on S3. It's time for a bit of fashion. Now, after a long, cold winter, we're all looking forward to warmer days. AW21 was all about comfort chic, and that is exactly what we can expect from spring and summer 21. Redefined casual styles. Now, Cleo Markopoulos, co-founder of Mood Creative Agency and Style Rotate, is here to discuss all the newness you can expect for this incredible new season. So, Cleo, welcome.
Hello. Nice to be back.
Yes, it is. It's lovely to have you. And when I say newness, we're talking about new. I'm seeing colors. I'm seeing great materials as well coming through. But before we get there, with regard to you and your platforms, I'm seeing your Insta folders, these stunning images. You've kept on moving, but I'd love to ask how the entire pandemic kind of shifted your business and the way you've done business.
So it is definitely made, well, being a fashion business owner, it's definitely made the way we think more conscious, conscious focused. Sustainability is becoming more important to the consumer. As we go into spring, we're going to see a shift. Dressing up is going to become more of a novelty to us after, you know, wearing loungewear for over a year. And then, of course, comfort is something that we are not willing to negotiate on anymore or compromise on. So comfort is going to be more and more important to the consumer.
I completely agree. Comfort is great because the thing is we've come from comfort, but now we get to upstyle it a bit. But we don't want to lose the comfort factor because that's been making us feel comfortable over these past couple of months. So that's important. Just from a side of newness, I mean, it's spring and summer. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be one of creativity and innovation, hopefully, when it comes to fashion. So what can we expect on the new front when it comes to fashion and what you brought along?
Well, in a nutshell, vibrancy is key. We're going to be seeing bright colors, prints, playful silhouettes. You know, after such a hard past year, we want to dress happy, and we're going to be seeing this in spring, summer. As I said before, comfort is going to be something that we are not willing to compromise on. And yeah, in a nutshell, we can see the psychology of fashion playing into the fact that we want to dress happy. And how fashion is going to directly affect our mood.
You know, I agree. Like your color now, you're wearing this pink, and suddenly I'm feeling like elevated. And I'm sure when you walk through a mall or something like that, that's exactly what we want to do, because the mood has been, you know, sort of dropped over the past sort of like year and a bit. So now let's lift it with fashion. So what have you brought along that you can show me that kind of gives me an idea of what I can expect to put into my cupboard very soon?
So as I said, bright colors.
Thank goodness.
Bright, bright, bright. We're seeing some really awesome golfer shirts for the guys.
And I see the collar of the golfers, they look a bit smaller, because usually the collars are quite big, but now they look smaller and a bit more sort of tighter, so that...
It's to sharpen up the look a bit.
That's it, sharpening is important.
So it's like a casual T-shirt with a little polished on the top.
Thank you.
We're seeing Woolies has got some really great sustainably sourced cotton T-shirts that people are going to be living in. We're seeing some beautiful dresses for women in, you know, fluid viscose, again, consciously sourced fabrics, different silhouettes. Should we call our models?
I would like to call our models in. Okay, let's take a seat and get ready for the show. You said fluid viscose, which is quite beautiful on the touch, you know, on the skin. It's great. So this model over here, phenomenal, stunning. Obviously, next runway's coming soon.
Gorgeous. So Roxanne is wearing a little slip dress with a bit of a cinch at the waist in a fluid viscose. Square necklines are going to be so key for women this spring, summer. That is kind of taking center stage with the necklines. This is a mini, but obviously we've got your middies, your maxis, various styles.
And a quick one, let's just say we're getting into, you know, it's spring, the evenings are still a bit chilly. Would you be able to pop on a jacket or something along with this?
So this is a great example of taking a look from day to night. This is a great canvas that you can pop on a biker jacket, maybe a pair of heels, and go to dinner from your day of work.
Lovely. Okay, let's get to the men's section. We got a model over here that you might recognize.
Hey, Ryle.
I'm surprised you found a golfer that fits his pecs.
I know.
It's great. He had to do XXL on top and then obviously XXS by waist. So let's So, model, take us through this look.
So, Ryle is wearing our golfer in a beautiful bright orange. It's also made with an innovative fabric finish that makes it, you know, easy to wash 100 times and still have it looking brand new, which is so key because no one likes a raggedy top after it's been washed 5 times. So very key, and also just that color adds a little bit of a polished feel. Then we've got our slim fit stretch cotton denim shorts here. Also super like easy to move in, comfortable, paired with some white sneakers.
You said easy to move, eh? Could you move a bit there, please?
Well, see me move. Let's just do a little.
That's it. Is it working?
Spring has
perfect.
sprung.
That's actually perfect. I can tell.
Brilliant.
Thank you to our models. Thank you, Ralph.
Awesome.
And I mean, he rocks these. But thanks so much for bringing this to our attention. I mean, spring and summer is going to be good. And as you mentioned, there's a comfort factor that hasn't been compromised, and there's still that style and
100%.
that beautiful finish as well.
Yes.
Which is great. Responsibly sourced materials is also very important too.
You know, sustainability is becoming more key.
Thank you, Cleo Markopoulos. Thank you so much for joining us. You're an absolute star. And if you want to refresh your look with some new colors and style updates for spring and summer, shop your summer dresses, tops and tees at Woolworths. Available in-store and online, as well as on the app.
A promise to the planet to be gentle and treat nature with kindness. So there's always trees to climb, to plant the seeds for a better future. Woolworths, the difference.
All right, let's talk pets now. And if you've got a dog at home, then you will know all too well that dealing with parasites is part of the job, part of our responsibility, in fact. And they come in the form of mites, ticks, fleas, and all sorts of worms. But luckily, we are joined by our favorite animal behaviorist, Karis Nafti. She is going to show us how to spot them and how to treat them. And of course, we are joined by the real star of the show, the goodest of good boys. It's Bear, who's looking like really composed today, hey?
He knows. Hey, look, he knows he's on duty now. He's just that, I told him, I prepped him.
He did come and give me his cuddle as he came in, as he does. He is beautiful. So great to have you here. I'm really loving these segments because I've got 2 pups at home that I absolutely adore. And they, let's be honest, they feel like kids, and dealing with parasites is one of our responsibilities. How do we spot them or spot the symptoms or signs of them, maybe is a better way of doing that? How do we identify that parasites are a problem with our pets?
Yeah. So, like you said, there's 4 main types of parasites to look out for. The first 2 I'll talk about are ticks and fleas. Ticks and fleas are very common. It's something you sort of always, I mean, all parasites you always have to be aware of. Ticks and fleas you see on the dog's skin. So what you can do, if your dog is itching, okay, because that's often one of the signs.
That's the first
what you have to do, are you
red
ready,
flag.
Bear? Are you ready for your close-up?
Good boy.
The easiest thing to do if you're looking for fleas is if you go to your dog's belly, where there's less hair, okay? So
especially with
down there, yeah, especially with there. Then you can usually see if you move the hair, like if you part the hair, you can often see the actual little fleas themselves, or you will see what looks like black pepper on your dog's skin, which is the flea droppings, yeah. Now ticks come in different size. So the normal ticks you see.
He's going like,
oh shake it off.
Ticks, no.
No, Puff. You will see, and they look like a big piece of whole black pepper, and you can see them on your dog's skin. You can feel them when you pet your dog. The difficult ticks to spot, they're these tiny little ones. They look like cinnamon, and they're little brown ticks that are just so tiny they're actually hard to see. If you've got if you've got fluffy dogs, okay, so let's say, for example, if you have a golden retriever type of dog, if you
With the
picture
longer hair,
very, very fluffy, you have to actually part the dog's hair and get down and see it, because you might not feel it as you pet the dogs.
Okay, so just take the time, yeah.
Take the time. You might get a dog like a Ridgeback that's got super smooth hair, and there it's a lot easier to see the ticks because they can't hide in the fluff.
They break the hair, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, should we talk about worms and the puffy stuff? Worms and mites. Okay, now mites is also mange. So people have often heard, oh, my dog has mange.
Okay.
Mites cause mange. Mites are microscopic, so you don't see them, but you just see the result of them. If your dog is ever losing hair, like spots of hair.
Clumps of it, okay.
Clumps of it. If they're scratching always in one place on their body. So with fleas, the dogs will scratch all over. You know, oh, I feel a flea, I feel a flea. With mange, you'll get one particular spot or a few they're going at.
And they exacerbate it by continually.
It gets like white and flaky. It starts to look really bad. And that often can be mites and mange, which you have to check out. And then worms.
Yeah.
No one wants to talk about
But
worms.
they are so common, yeah.
It's part of animal ownership. So the signs to look for worms are a dog that's suddenly drinking a lot. Sometimes I might get like a little pot belly, like their belly bloats out a little bit.
Okay.
They can have diarrhea, they can have loose stools suddenly or not so suddenly, their appetite might change, and they often just look maybe a little bit sick. And
Okay.
depending on the severity, they might look more or less sick, but look for changes in water consumption, belly size, and what they're feasting. You always got to look
you know your dog, and you have the advantage of being up close and personal with your dog every day. So, I mean, it's worth monitoring behavior as much as it is looking for those signs. Do these parasites pose a danger to humans?
Well, yes, they can. So certainly tick bite fever is a problem that dogs can get from ticks, and people can also get tick bite fever. So if you
Which can be quite serious.
It can be super serious, and you can get ticks just like your dog walking in the grass, walking on the mountain. So always check yourself, check your ankles if you've got ticks. Fleas can get into the house, they can get into your bedding, and they can also.
And they infest areas, I've heard. Yeah.
They do, yeah. Fleas. So the way fleas spread is they drop their eggs in the environment. So whether it's the couch, your bed, the dog's bed, the park is lovely, hey?
Awesome.
Yes, it's motivation to keep your house very clean. Yeah.
When do we know that we've reached a point, because I had a skin issue that I actually thought was possibly mites or mange, and it turned out to be a bacterial issue that needed to be treated in a very different way. But when do you know, okay, it's beyond me doing this and I need to go to a vet?
Yeah, so people can get mange. I've had mange before because I work with so many dogs, and you just have to treat
Comes
it.
with the territory.
Comes with the territory. It's like, what are you going to do? If your dog, as you said, you know your dog. If your dog is obviously unwell, you need to go to the vet. If it's something like fleas you can treat yourself because it's very common, very treatable. They're everywhere. Same thing with ticks. If your dog is not eating properly, if they're lethargic, if their skin is physically troubled, if you can see any parts of their skin where the hair is not growing back, you should go to your vet.
Okay, rather better safe. And just follow up, but of course there are ways that you can preventatively treat, and that's what we're going to get into and how we can administer that ourselves. Stay with us, because after the break, Karis will be teaching us a few useful and maybe somewhat sneaky tricks to help give our dogs medicine at home, which can be quite a challenge. We are back with animal behaviorist Karis Nafty and another very good boy, or goodest of the good boys, Sammy, who we love. He's always smiling. And today we are chatting all things parasites. I know it's a difficult one to palate, but we've got to do it. And we're helping you with a few useful tricks on how to give your pets meds at home, which can be a challenge. Because just like humans, we're not all that keen on tablets. But Sam seems game this morning. This is his favorite carpet. Yeah, it's your favorite carpet, boy.
He comes here for the carpet, yeah.
Yes, it's your favorite carpet. Hey, good boy.
Oh, there we go, there we go.
There we go.
Good boy.
Now, see, that's the thing. So dogs scratch, okay? So don't be, your dog scratches like we scratch. You get itchy. But the dangerous scratching is where it's really, really concentrated and super intense.
On one
then
spot.
There's usually a reason for it. Yeah.
Good boy.
So the reason why we're here.
Yes.
How to sneakily give your dog next guard.
Yes.
Okay, this is important.
Yeah.
Because I know that, you know, dogs, their noses are their protector.
Yeah.
And they will smell it from a mile away. They'll see you walking toward it with the medication and they'll be like, nope.
They get
and they'll
your
find
vibe
their spot
as well,
and
hey?
hide away. So,
And they also notice your body language, where
Yes,
you
they
go, like you're a mad scientist and you're going to give them something horrible.
Mine get that before, like cleaning like a bath. You look like, where's Leo? How does he know?
Yes.
Where's he gone?
Because you're trying to be subtle and you actually crap at it. Yeah. So when you're going to give your dog, now we're lucky. I'm going to show everybody now. Next guard is great because it actually tastes good, so dogs like it. They eat it. But there are plenty of times when you have to feed your dog something maybe they're not so keen on. So the first...
Especially like an antibiotic. Ooh,
yeah.
stuff,
Oh, they hate that stuff. So, So the first thing to do is plan ahead and take the tablet out and put it near the treats, maybe an hour before you're going to give it. So there isn't any of that sneaking to the medicine cabinet.
That in itself is very sneaky, Karis. Yeah. Very sneaky.
So, and then you call for treats. And what I like to do if I have to give a tablet that the dog isn't going to like is I'll get 4 treats ready, all delicious.
Oh.
And I'll show you, because I have a treat in my
You look like such a nice person, but you're actually really mean.
Yeah. I know, but I try to use my meanness for good. Okay, so if you have 3 treats, okay, and because dogs always get excited about the next treat, even if they're eating a treat now. So, for example, I would put the tablet in the second treat and I'd wrap it up. And you do a quick fire, 1, 2, and 3. And because you have the next treat ready, they don't notice the puffy smelling one in the middle. So you go boom, boom, boom. And just having that next treat available will make them swallow to eat it. And the smell of it also distracts them from the thing that's in their mouth.
Brilliant.
Okay? That's
Absolutely.
the easiest way to do it.
Easy peasy.
How often, because I love the fact that this is preventative and it also treats against all parasites in one foul swoop, which is great. How often do we need to be topping up?
Yeah, so you should do NexGard once a month. And the trick with any whatever parasite preventative you're using is you want to keep up with it. Don't wait until you see parasites on the dog. Because especially with fleas, once you see them on your dog, they're also in your house.
It's too late,
It's too late, and then you've got to clean the house because the fleas jump up from the carpets and the bedding. So you want to maintain it and you want to do it regularly to prevent everything. Yeah.
Wow. You know, I'm just thinking about that little strategy as well. I'm also worried now because if my TV's on at home, you just said treats a couple of times.
Yeah.
There is...
You know how many dogs are sitting by their TVs right now, or sitting in the kitchen waiting?
Yes, listening to Dad crying for cookies, yes.
So even with NexGard, I mean, is it still a good practice to continue brushing them, grooming them, and of course checking for external parasites?
Absolutely. You have to maintain. I mean, grooming is necessary for good health, parasites or not. And you should always just check. Always be aware of what's going on with your dog. You groom for any reason, for any kind of cut they might have. Sam's grooming his foot now. So anything, always take care of your dogs. Don't let your parasite treatment be an excuse not to groom them, because you always have to keep an eye on what's going on.
And it's also a good way to check in, because it's those subtle behavioural changes. Every time we've spoken about the more serious stuff, often that first red flag is a change in behaviour. So just spend a bit of time with them in that sense. Yes, it's great to see them running outdoors and playing and everything, but you know, they, especially if they live indoors with you.
And practice. It's also really good to always just get in the habit of being able to, like, touch your dog's feet, for example. So if they do get a cut, they'll let you look at them or look at their belly. You know, if you don't, if you only do that if something's wrong, then they get a bit twitchy. So you want to get them used to it.
At what age do we start administering something like NexGard?
You can do it at about 2 months.
Oh, wow,
yeah, 8 weeks old. They just have to be 2 pounds or 2 kilos. So if you've got a miniature Chihuahua, maybe wait a little bit longer, but they've just got to be the right weight. But yeah, it's safe for puppies.
So it's weight-wise.
Wow.
Okay.
This is some good strategies you're giving us as well. We might actually use them on humans too. If they don't want to take medicine. But it's really a powerful thing because it's important to look after our doggies. Sometimes, you just think taking them for a walk is enough, but you have to do that sort of the finite stuff that really matters.
Yeah, no, dog ownership is a broad thing. Should we show everybody how delicious the next one is?
Please.
Yes.
Okay.
When you say delicious, are you going to feed me one or no? I'm kidding.
Not today, Carl.
Yeah, to be honest, I'd do it. If you dared me, I'd probably do it.
I know you would.
Yeah.
Okay, please don't do that. And
No,
don't
we won't do it. Don't worry, we're not encouraging that. Okay, but let's see.
Okay. Oh, that's sorry. That's the wrong size. So when you do get NexGuard, make sure you get the right size for your dog. This is a bear size one, and that's not for Sam. But we're going to put it back there.
He's like, what?
It's like, what? But that's for that. So this is what I've got for Sam, and it's for a dog who's between 10 and 25 kgs, which is obviously him. And when we were planning for the show, I thought, oh, well, he actually is due for his NexGuard. So I'll just give it live on air, and we shall prove how delicious it is for people who don't.
Sam already looks interested in it anyway.
He is interested. He's like, wow, this is awesome. Good. So you just pop it out of its little tablet. And like I said, this one tastes nice, so you don't have to do my sneaky trick. Sam.
Don't be sneaky now, boy. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm just heading over here to check out.
There we go. So let's see. See, he's smelling it, and he likes it. Tastes good. Easy peasy.
Oh, oh.
Yep.
Someone's checking it out.
No, it's
What
chewy.
is it?
He's chewing it. Yum, yum,
What
yum.
is it, boy?
Yes.
Easy peasy.
Oh, what is it? Oh, you can do it. Be crafty. Be crafty.
Yeah. He's chewing.
It's making you work for your money today.
And he's sit, boy, sit. Sit.
By the way, this is exactly how my dogs do it.
Yes, there we go. And he's just struggling to chew it.
Is it a weird mouthfeel, boy?
Yeah, it is. It's like
Good
gum.
boy.
There you go. See? Excellent.
Good
So that's how it works.
boy. Okay, that's brilliant.
He was just having trouble getting it chomped a little bit. And so you just add a few extra treats, and then it's a piece of cake. And now he's
done and dusted.
Yeah.
Well done, my friend. Enjoy being parasite-free for the next month.
Delicious. And now see, he's licking up the
all
crumbs.
the crumbs. Good boy.
Awesome.
Because your health comes first. Karis, brilliant stuff. I think this is going to help a lot of people out there, and also maybe a bit of a wake-up call for those that haven't been taking care of their pups as well as they should. A happy dog is a healthy dog, and NexGuard Spectra is a tasty, as we've proven, soft, braised, beef-flavoured chew that can be given with or without a treat to your dog. You can even just pop it in their food, actually, and the product offers the broadest parasite coverage of any oral treatment and has an excellent safety profile for dogs of all ages and sizes, including puppies from 2 months, we've heard. And you can buy NexGuard Spectra in-store at vets, or you can shop it online at petheaven.co.za.
Good boy.
Thanks.
I absolutely love that. What a little cutie pie. And I think I'm definitely going to take some tips there. Always carry some snacks with you, whether you're around humans or animals. It seems like it works. And maybe if you want to get some extra veg in, slide a chocolate in between. That might work as well. I don't know. You never know. But anyway, sticking to the theme of animals, we asked you a question this morning on social media about how did you come up with your pet's name, and share your story and a picture with us. And of course, Mzansi, you came through. So let's see let's see what your beautiful animals look like. And Shireen Abrams has come through, and she says, we also have a rabbit called Sugar. My daughter names all our pets, and Sugar is very feisty and does not take any nonsense. And I see a dark black and brown Sugar over there. Sure, there's more to the family. Shireen's got a guinea pig named Savannah. They call her Savvy because she is such a drama queen. I like that. And throws a tantrum when she wants her way. That is really, really cool. Then we've got Bianca Netta Pillay says, my girl Kitso, I believe. Lol, I just kept the first part of a name using kitten by taking, obviously, the first 3 letters, kit, and adding a zo to it. I like that. I like that. That's smart. Then you got Colleen Kinshele saying, good morning, family. My son gave our cat's name Tom. Got it from a Tom and Jerry cartoon. I think we all know that. I love that one. Now, Tom is actually a girl. That's okay. Gender fluid. That's the world we're going with. It doesn't matter anymore. Sometimes I just say Tomica. And a beautiful family portrait, guys. It's so good to see your family and the rest of your friends, and keep coming through on the social media channels. I want to hear those crazy stories about your pets and your furry love balls.
Nourish your skin with Ingram's tissue oil and rich body care range for 48-hour rich moisture. Ingram's, your skin, your brave.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show, and I think the best way to feel good is to eat pizza. That's just straight up. It has to happen. Now, Expresso on S3 is where you have to be live with Chef Clem in this lovely kitchen, because have you ever wanted to try your hand at making a proper Italian style of pizza? Well, Chef Clem is here to teach us exactly how to do it from the comfort of your own home, and you too can shout so the neighbors can hear you say, bellissimo. Hey, Chef Clem.
I am excited about this. Look, pizza. When's it a bad time to eat pizza?
There's never a bad time.
No.
I know that pizza is a good breakfast item. I know that pizza is a good nighttime item. I know it's good for lunch. There's not a time it's good. I mean, it's Christmas, Easter, pizza, Easter. It rhymes.
It rhymes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to make our beautiful dough. You and I had a very, very quick, like 10-second conversation.
Yes, we had to.
Tell the people what you told me.
Okay, so what I told Chef Clem is that I think that because we've been sort of indoctrinated into a certain culture, it's always been about the toppings for us. And I remember when I got those ready-made pizza bases at home, I used to top it with everything, thinking that I was making an amazing pizza. It turns out that pizza is actually about the dough. It's about the crispness of the dough. It's about the airiness, the lightness, the flavor even of the dough. It is all about the dough. And I mean, that's basically how you and I live. We hustle hard because we want dough. Indeed, here it is.
So here it is. Let me tell you about this dough. So we got regular flour. Don't buy anything special.
All right.
What makes it special is the time that it takes to get to that final result. Okay. So regular flour, we're going to go in with yeast. You don't have to bloom it. You can. I mean, you can activate it.
Yes.
Before, but it's perfectly fine. And then sugar.
You're going in all dry. That's interesting. When you went in there dry with dry yeast. Because that's not the way I do it, which is amazing.
You can absolutely activate it, which kickstarts the process.
Yes.
What happens is, the longer the bread takes to rise, or to get to that final stage, the more flavor develops. As yeast starts activating, you can smell it, right?
Yes.
So the longer it takes, the more flavor is going to permeate through that dough.
I think that's the key.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, obviously in the oven, you got a touch of moisture in there and heat that is activating slower than if you were to activate it prior to putting it into the dry ingredients.
Absolutely.
That's actually quite genius, Chef Clem. I'm trying it.
Here's what I like doing. So when I do evenly distribute the salt throughout the dough, I've got fine salt. Put away the mold and put away the fancy salt. Use regular salt. Add a bit of water to the salt and dilute it.
Are you going to do warm water there?
This is warm. Give it a feel.
Okay.
Okay. So now what's going to happen is, first give this a little mix here, bring everything together.
Nice.
And then give the salt a mix as well. So you're going to dissolve those salt granules. So when you add it to the mix, it's evenly going to distribute through.
That is genius.
Instead of the little grains.
I mean, not everybody's folding's the same, and you don't want a salty spot and then a bland spot. So this is actually genius.
Thank you, thank you. Like, bread for me is one of the simplest things, but it's also kind of very poetic, right?
It is.
I feel like you're taking such raw ingredients, and at the end of it, you're getting something that's a biblical product. I mean, it's like...
Biblical!
It's bread! It's amazing! You break bread, you share bread. I mean, all of it is just so amazing. Some cultures believe that it's wrong to cut bread. You have to tear it because it's just so special.
I actually, there's something about it. There's something special about that because it's about people. You know, I think that the origins of how people shared meals, the bread with the simplest of ingredients, you didn't have to have all the resources, but if you had a loaf of bread, the entire family ate together.
Right.
There's something special about that. And I think pizza holds that same type of origin as well.
It does.
People got around. They didn't have a lot to work with, but they made a plan.
Absolutely. I need to make a plan because, you see, I wasn't supposed to use all the water. I used all the water. But we're going to fast forward. There's a rule. There's a rule. What you're looking for a wet dough. There's a rule, okay?
Yes.
When you're making breads, when you're making pizza dough, the rule is the wetter the better.
So, the
wetter the better.
So when you say wetter the better, are you talking about the viscosity of it? So it shouldn't be loose.
Yeah,
though.
it should be.
That's not what you mean by it.
It should be soft. It should be like a pillow. It should be like a blanket.
Okay,
but
great.
not too sticky that it sticks to your hands.
All right.
Okay.
So, also, if you want to get this recipe, I just thought just midway through woolworths.co.za, if you want to go check it out while we're doing this, we have worked very, very hard on this. What's this?
Give this a feel quickly. Can you feel like what I mean? It's so soft. It's so.
Do you mind if I go in?
No, you might. We all wash hands. Go for it. You see what I mean? It's soft. It's so pliable.
But see, there's a little pullback on it as well, which tells you that it's
the gluten
not
that's in there.
And how long have you proved this?
So this is proved. It's nice and cold right now, which is perfect because I want to let this take its time to kind of get to that rising stage. It's proof for about an hour and a half just because it's cold. During summer, it'll be like 45 minutes to an hour. You say, well, why must I do that when it's Italian?
Yes.
What's this?
Yeah, but the thing is, these things happen to you automatically. When you deal with Italian, suddenly you start talking, Italian as well, like, Juventus and Napoli, AC Milan, Inter Milan.
You're just mentioning all the...
I mentioned all the Italian football teams. That's just about all I know.
Okay, super soft. I mean, you can see the way that dough falls. It is super, super soft. Right?
Okay, this
and
is good.
that's just what you want.
It's worked.
So I'm gonna cut half for Carl.
Thank you.
There you go. Okay, so first thing you're gonna do is make a ball.
Okay.
So we're going very simple with these toppings, right? We're gonna use passata, which is uncooked tomato sauce. We're gonna go with mozzarella, beautiful mozzarella, like the real deal mozzarella. We're gonna just tear it over. Okay, so now get some dough in there, start pushing it out. You can use a rolling pin, but let's just go with our hands first.
Okay,
There's
let's
more
go.
flour for you. We're doing this together, okay?
Let's go.
And you can start stretching it out. Do you want to throw some pizza?
I actually just like what I do like doing is this. I just like letting the gravity do the work for you as you're doing the rounds, because that way it's nice and evenly spread. You know.
You can also use your knuckles to spread it out.
And then also
not your fingertips, because it'll break it.
The bench style as well.
Absolutely. Do you want to throw some pizza dough?
I think we should throw some. I think it could be setting up for a blunder. But
we do.
As long as you know, woolworths.co.za, go grab this recipe, and then you can also throw your pizza dough around.
Okay, ready. So what you're gonna do? You're gonna fist. You're gonna go 2 fists. You ready?
2 fists.
Yeah. Over like that. Make an X.
Over.
And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna throw and then pull them back.
I thought you were gonna say Wakanda forever. But
Wakanda forever.
Right.
Okay,
yes.
ready?
So I don't even know if I got my thing ready there.
Okay.
You just do it.
That was one.
Done.
I don't need to go again because my pizza's looking super soft. Okay, cool.
That's
then,
great.
My tip is use.
That's going to be
such a good dough. It's such a good dough.
It's so good. I almost don't want to throw it because it's that amazing.
Let's use yours. I like yours. You want to use yours? Okay, you can put yours on there.
Thank you. Well, actually, I would like to use yours because you threw it. I think if you haven't thrown it, it's not ready for it.
All right,
Thrown.
I feel you. I feel
you.
You
put some. Is that semolina? No.
So you can use semolina or polenta, and I
okay.
like it because it adds texture to the pizza. Okay. Passata, uncooked tomato sauce. We're going simple on the topping because I want that dough to come through. That's where the flavor's at.
Okay.
Will you spoon for me?
I will spoon.
There we go.
I'm a good spooner, apparently.
You got to go all the way.
Right.
All the way to the ends as well. A dry pizza crust is not going to happen today, okay? There we go. And I don't want to soak it in sauce.
Do you want to just...
There we go. That's all I want.
You just want to do that lightly, spread over nicely.
While you're doing that, I'm coming in.
Okay, we're coming in.
Buffalo mozzarella.
Go for
Buffalo mozzarella. This is stuff. This is like special. This is like when you're really trying to like impress someone. Trying to impress you.
I know you are, but I like the way it melts when it's in the oven. It has that beautiful sort of like a puddle of deliciousness.
Absolutely.
What's the way you said buffalo mozzarella? You went buffalo mozzarella. Yeah, that thing. It's good. Right.
Okay, look at the way that is. Okay, cool. Cheesy on top. Then.
This
oven.
is why tear and tear is the same word, because it's making me emotional.
Brings you to tears. Oven, that's it.
That's it.
That's it. Okay, then what happens when it comes out? Hit it with Serrano ham. Put your ham on when it comes out. The heat of the pizza starts melting the fat that's in the Serrano.
Okay.
But let's just pretend that let's put it on now.
Yes.
If you want to put it on in the beginning, it just goes nice and crispy. We like the crispy, so perfectly fine.
Okay. And you know what? The finished product, while you put that on, I'm going to turn and flip over to the finished product, which is this baby over here on the side, which is gorgeous, amazing. Cut it, share it, love it, make it. Woolworths.co.za. Thank you, Chef Clint.
No, thank you.
Bellissimo!
Grazie mille.
There we go. Well done.
Yay! Where'd that come from?
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, it has been an amazing show. The dough has been great. And I mean dough.
I'm already still a flour.
I'll soften your hands after working with all that dough, but we're going to do it all over again tomorrow. Be sure to tune in tomorrow where we get a front row seat to this man's epic day in the all-new Citroen C3. I got to spend a week in it. It really is cool. He's going to head out to adventure and explore Cape Town's natural beauty, forage for wild food, as one must in the Cape Peninsula, and then braves a morning surf at the beautiful Muizenberg Beach. What a day out, bro.
The
Look at that smile.
It's fun.
Look at that smile, bro.
It's going to be good.
Good morning, you beautiful people. Now, look, if you're a nature lover like me, then Cape Town truly is one of the best places to be. I mean, look around us. Beautiful beaches, enchanting mountain trails, and a plethora of activities to do here. I mean, what's not to love?
There it is. Okay, that's all tomorrow.
Tough life, buddy. Tough life.
But at the moment, we've got CCV back on stage for you with a song called Dysfunctional. Have some fun with this one. Enjoy.
Going up in flames, lined with smoke in my eyes. Even with fingers crossed, you bet it's still a lie. Couldn't see the red flags, tore the fabric of time, but I can't change nothing now. Just keep on walking by. What we had is lost, and you've become a ghost. You cannot hear or see me. Now it's dysfunctional. Heights are not always great. I wish that we could go down to where things were simple. Now it's dysfunctional. In an alternate place, I never let you go, and we are still together in the multiverse. How many times did we try and then just let it slide, hoping we'd have more time? But you're a stranger now. What we had is lost, and you've become a ghost. You cannot hear or see me. Now it's dysfunctional. Heights are not always great. I wish that we could go down to where things were simple. Now it's dysfunctional.
Here's to baking the winter blues away and trying new adventurous recipes to put the spring back in your step. Made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.
Thanks for all the great help.